that makes sense because you end up getting the screw attack after the space jump. You know, it's one of the last items you get in the vanilla game, isn't it?
Right. Alrighty, we are underway. So, right off the bat, you see both of them doing what's called arm pumping. While you're moving, if you tap L or R to aim your gun, it shifts you forward a pixel. You're not actually moving faster, you're getting your positions changing, but it comes to the same thing. Most likely, we'll see both of these guys head right into Link to the Past through this door here, which normally would lead to the Criterium map station. And yep.
All right, so with this logic, they'll do a quick check, and it's silver arrows on Lake Hylia Island. That's a nice, interesting check right there.
And we've got our first Super Metroid item, a Nope Tank in Link's house. MetroidMst resets, NDIAZ heads right on out. I'm guessing MST's heading to Sanctuary now.
Looks to be. It looks like NDIAZ is going to do a south route here. He's going to be checking the dam, the watery dam, as well as some other areas. Can't do a whole lot of checks here without some other equipment. Hopefully some bombs are coming in soon, but there's a lot of value down here if you can come here with any sort of weapon.
And that was the space jump that MetroidMst found in the Sanctuary chest. So that's a lot of Super Metroid mobility once we get the Morph Ball to go along with it. So the damn chest was just one of the two, I think, single rupees in the item pool.
Yeah, there's only 2 single rupees in the item pool, and they're always disappointing, but in particular disappointing when you're hoping to find some progression. Looks like there's some super missiles that are flooded somehow, and I guess they'll still work.
And it looks like MetroidMst just saw a big 20 at the Lumberjack. So that will not make us require AGA 1.
So far, I mean, there's still some other logical inconsistencies that could require AGA 1, but at least it's not for just a single item.
Right. At this point, we would only need to do it for Dark World access. Is that about right?
Yes. Typically in early Z3R, what you're going to look for are 3 items. A lift upgrade of some sort, the Moon Pearl, and either the hammer or a second lift upgrade. That'll get you access to the Dark World. Missing one of those items, you're probably going to have to go up at the castle tower and get your Dark World access that way. Now, you still need some items to get up there. You need logically the lamp. You need logically at least one sword, if not the Master Sword or the cape. So there's a lot of little interesting logic gaps, and depending on what we find early, it can start painting a picture for us.
MetroidMst found the second reserve tank of 4 in the pit in the Lost Woods, and he's now doing his Kakariko Town checks. I think NDIAZ is heading. Yeah, he's into Lost Woods now. And MetroidMst's gonna check Blind's basement here.
More super missiles. Oh, a big 300 rupees. Regular missiles. And more missiles.
Unfortunately, he didn't find any Link to the Past bombs there, so he's gonna have to leave the last item in the back until he does get some. But he can't. There is a vendor here, I believe, and he can buy 10 bombs for what, 50 rupees here?
Yeah, you can get 10 bombs for 50 rupees. The issue is that it's a little bit inefficient because you have to go down to the south part of the village and then come back up. So he was probably hoping that he could find some there, but he really didn't have much of an option. He didn't have any other rupees. So there's that purchase. Oftentimes you'll also see other runners. There's one treasure chest that you can access kind of at the back of the bar over here. Some runners will check that prior to doing, but it looks like he's kind of one-track minded right now, coming in, getting it, and just wants to clear out Blind's basement.
In the meantime, he also checked the bottle vendor, which was 100 rupees to get back 5. Slightly less, not as bad as of a scam artist as King Zora. Hey, there's the speed booster in the back of the tavern. That is actually some Super Metroid progression. That'll get us as far as Big Pink and Brinstar, and then there's the Book of Mudora in the back of Blind's basement.
And that book is going to start painting a picture of us towards the Desert Palace. At least it's our access. Without the dash boots in Link to the Past, though, That might be a boots lock dungeon, so it might have some progression, but we don't know. And there's our first map check. Looks like Crystal 7 and 5 in Hera and Eastern, and then just a blue pendant in Desert.
That's what I saw too. But there's a heart container in the well. Back of the well, that's a fairy in a bottle, I believe.
Yep, that fairy in the bottle is going to be able to allow us to check what the sick kid will have in store for us. NDIAZ is actually pulling up bushes and trying to farm some bombs so he can use this bomb into this bombable hut to farm more bombs so he doesn't have to purchase any. He wants to be able to do single passes. The problem is he spent a lot of time farming for those bombs. It's a little bit inefficient there, but you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
MetroidMst over into the chicken hut now, and Diaz still farming bombs. How about that? There's the bow in the chicken hut.
I'm not going to say that I'm disappointed, but I'm a little bit disappointed.
Okay, so if memory serves, we just need the mirror to access those supers on the Lake Hylia Island, correct? Well, mirror and Dark World access.
Oh, yeah, mirror and Dark World access. We still logically need the flippers as well. There are some runners who are able to use some logic breaks to get to that, but still logically need that. More importantly,
I am familiar with the fake flipper trick.
Well, there's a fake flipper trick into the Dark World where you actually have to die with a fairy in a bottle above the water, and then when you come back to life, you're a fake flippering. You can't normally do it in the Dark World at that point.
That one I'm not aware of.
Yeah, it's very rare you end up having to see it, and most people have the flippers at that point anyway. Just some super missiles up on the library ledge, and MetroidMst is going right to the maze game, not even checking it, confident that something's there.
Technically speaking, something's always there. It's just a question of whether or not it's worth it.
Well, and I imagine with a cross rando like this, you're always going to find something. And hey, missiles, that's not bad.
Right. Super Metroid ammunition will be important until and unless the charge beam and ideally the plasma beam show up. Because until you have the plasma beam and the charge beam, ammunition will be your best DPS against bosses.
So right now we're seeing a Metroid come down here, and looks like he's going to be doing a similar dam check as he just ended up completing. But with that book, I wouldn't be surprised if he routed over into the Desert Palace area immediately after, instead of what NDIAZ did and started there. So help me out here, Bacht. In these crossover rando races, do people usually try to start in Z3R, get as far as they can in terms of the logic progression, and then go over to minimize the bouncing back and forth? Because that seems like it would be logical to me.
Yeah, ideally you do try to minimize your bouncing back and forth, but one of the interesting cases in the logic is that when you transition between games, it saves automatically, and you can when you transition, you can then hard reset to Super Metroid. You can use that as a kind of a shortcut.
All right, so Metroid is actually going to be checking over here, kind of a one-off location known as Agina's Cave. He is everyone's least favorite old man because this particular check isn't done a whole lot until much, much later. It's a low percent check, but man, when something is here early, it can pay major dividends.
We had NDIAZ actually check the race game, and he didn't do it. So that'll save him a little time over at MetroidMst.
And here's a real interesting route divergence. Diaz looks like he's going to go over here and do the mini Moldorm cave. There are 5 items in this cave. He'll have to rely on bombs to kill these mini Moldorms, so it'd be a little tricky. While Metroid is over here going to be diving into Desert Palace, see some more super missiles that are on the desert ledge, so that is accessible to him. But what else are we going to find here?
Very clean bomb kills on the mini Moldorms by NDIAZ. And the only thing of note in the mini Moldorm cave is an energy tank.
I did see an arrow capacity upgrade. That is super interesting to me. Those capacity upgrades were actually removed from the latest version of the Z3R randomizer, replaced with just arrows and bombs normally. So really interesting to see those in there.
Now, the combo randomizer is currently based on version 29. I believe what you're talking about is version 30.
Absolutely, it's the latest version for that.
And I believe I just saw a small key on the desert torch, which means we are boots locked.
It was just a compass, actually. So there's the small key. We are not boots locked. Yeah.
Meantime, NDIAZ is checking the ice rod cave. And the forest trouble, he'll get another heart container.
So Diaz is doing a save and quit, so it looks like he's on his way back to Metroid. Meanwhile, Metroid is actually finishing up Desert Palace, and if there's progression here that Diaz has not completed, this could be significant.
Alrighty, looks like NDIAZ is going to head down to Old Brinstar and check the 2 items there. See, NDIAZ gets the Moonfall strat there. When you have the Moonwalk ability on and you fall off a ledge in the right way while moonwalking, your vertical fall speed will be uncapped.
Oh, that's super interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah, the Moonfall is a recent discovery. I believe it was just this year.
So Metroid looks like he's still going to be running around here in the early stages of Z3R, going to be finding, this incredible value that we found here in Mini Moldorm.
So NDIAZ saw regular missiles at the both of his locations he can check now. Yeah, that's not worth keeping. So yeah, he's going to reset again and head back to the ship. Alphon, sometime in the old Mother Brain Room, the reason NDIAZ would have opened both doors is because those are metal doors. They have to. Sometimes doors like that only open once all the enemies in a room are dead, and if you don't open them when you can, the next time you come in, you'll have to kill all the enemies again. But if you do open them, then they'll just be blue doors next time. And NDIAZ gets a nice short charge, which you accomplish by tapping the run button around a magic frame. Hey, there's a fighter sword upgrade.
I mean, I'm happy to see a sword at any point in time, because running around Zelda without a sword is just sad panda.
As I was saying, when you're holding the run button, Samus's speed increases steadily, but the variable that tracks if she has speed echoes, like you just saw there, that only increment on a specific frame of the running animation. So you tap the run button around that frame, so you increment the boost counter while moving at a lower speed, and you get the speed echoes in a sort of rumble. Oh, NDIAZ heading for the early supers room. There are 2 items here. Okay, that heart piece is not in logic because we do not have more and we do not have more bombs. There's the wave beam that'll add some firepower and let NDIAZ shoot through walls. There are 2 items behind the wave beam there, but they cannot be checked without the morphing ball. And let's see what we have here. +5 bomb capacity. That would be where you would normally get your first super missiles in any percent NMG.
Meanwhile, MetroidMst is on his way over here, going to be checking the eastern area. Having the bow means this is a good check if he is knows the dark rooms, he'll be able to sequence break around and go ahead and get his first crystal. There's the dash boots. And a glove upgrade. All the value here.
That is some very good value. The missile packet pre-mission impossible is just a heart piece. And there's one more item to check here, and it's just a heart container. I think NDIAZ might keep this.
It looks like he's climbing up. I don't know where he's going.
He's heading back to Brinstar. Heading back to the elevator. He's probably going to head back up to Criteria and head back to Link to the Past. He's about exhausted what he can do with the items he has in Super Metroid.
Yeah, the only advantage he'll have over Metroid is having that sword, which is really a nice to have, but not a must-have at this point for Link to the Past. Metroid would, if he finds the lamp somewhere in here, he'll be able to go ahead and full clear this entire dungeon. He may be able to do it if he knows the dark rooms anyway, just not necessarily in logic.
I believe NDIAZ actually was sequence breaking here too, because the normal logic does not call for you to have to do the short charges that I explained. But still, it would be good to have that sword. Betasia, how many prizes are there in Eastern?
In Eastern Palace, if you can complete the entire dungeon, there are 3 prizes in there. You have 6 total treasures, minus the 3 dungeon items. There are no small keys. So we've already seen 1 in that rupee, and everything else, I believe, up to this point in time has been, we got the big key, for example. So one of those items can be on the boss, and that's locked behind a dark room. Also, we have another treasure chest in the vanilla big key location that's locked behind a dark room. So we have 2 treasures left to get a lamp. Ooh, Metroid tried to do kind of an interesting trick where those skeletons, if you can spawn them at the right point, they will spawn in such a way that they will try to spawn on those pots or outside the walls, so they will not spawn, and you can get as few as 2 instead of the full 4.
All right, that's 2 prizes out of 3. I know we've seen the map and the big key.
Yep, there's 2 treasures left. I mean, 1 treasure left, 2 treasure opportunities. We'll see if it's past this dark room. Either way, it's out of logic, so it's just something to be aware of.
Vitasia, at one point when I was chatting with Maniacal42 in the chat, he said that he feels that normal logic seeds can be actually be trickier than hard logic seeds. That there's a lot more you have to keep track of to make sure you're not going out of sequence. Is that something you'd agree with?
It really depends on the seed. If I'm being perfectly honest, there are some times where if you're doing a lot of sequence breaking, you can really, put yourself over a barrel. Just depends on what items are your sequence breaking. For example, I'm not a huge fan of fake flippers just because it's real easy to start getting ridiculous with some of the logic gaps. But other times, dark rooms are not so bad. So it's just something to be aware of, and keeping track of those sorts of things is fine.
And that, I believe, is the 3rd prize, a pack of super missiles. And that means that I believe the compass will be on the Armos Knights?
Absolutely. It is going to be our other crystal, so that's something, but...
Yes, it's Fantasia. As Revolving Ocelot pointed out, normal and hard, the normal logic and the hard logic, that only applies to the Super Metroid side of things. So...
okay.
Yeah, I believe that there are no Link to the Past glitches expected by the logic. At least insofar as the combo randomizer is. I'm not sure about the standalone.
Usually no. If it is considered a sequence break, it will never be theoretically logical. And you can get some interesting knowledge from doing sequence breaks, but yeah, it's never required. It can force you to do some really wacky things, but it's never required.
Okay. So, looks like we have MetroidMst using the stutter dust from the Pegasus boots for darkroom navigation. Interesting strategy there. Makes sense without a sword to hold out. Delphon, thank you for confirming that.
This is kind of unfortunate, yeah, having to use arrows here.
To be fair, he's finding them all over the place. He's maxed out at 40 right now, so he's got 38 to deal with the Armos Knights. I don't think he'll have too much trouble with this. They take 3 arrows each, correct?
Yeah, this is the dungeon that you find the bow in from a vanilla perspective, so it's really pretty reasonable that you're going to find a metric boatload of arrows in this dungeon lying around.
Alright, that's 1 dungeon down for MetroidMst, and I believe that was a 5-6 crystal as well.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to know, the 5-6 crystal does unlock, once you get both of them, unlocks a pyramid fairy in the dark room, dark world. We're a long ways away from that, but interesting to already eliminate, hey, that lamp cannot be in that particular room.
So MetroidMst resets the sanctuary. Not sure where he's heading at this point. Meanwhile, NDIAZ is doing some dark rooms. Sorry, Vitasia, were you about to say something?
I'm just saying he's coming right over here to Bonk Rocks, which is in logic. Could have something for us. We're kind of getting close. Oh my.
How about that? The flute!
Yeah, that's a nice pickup right there. It does look like he's also going to be doing the back part of the escape sequence, which will have 3 items for him. NDIAZ, meanwhile, takes a death in that dark room, and luckily has a fairy in a bottle, so he won't be hurt by it too much.
And Back of Escape is going to give us the Screw Attack, 50 rupees, and Super Missiles. And is that all of the treasures? Is that all of the prizes in Hyrule Castle?
Not even close.
Okay, let me correct that. How about, is that all the treasures in the escape?
No. We will have the uncle. Keep in mind, there's only 2 dungeon items in the entirety of the escape sequence. It's the map and a small key. So we have. We're still looking for both, but there's still several treasures that we can get. The uncle is going to give us something. There's another treasure chest over here. We still have several checks that we can make in here. The problem is we're reliant on the bow, which can be a little bit dangerous because there's no guaranteed arrow drops as you're going through here. Uncle does gift us with his handy-dandy hook shot, though.
So, Vitasia, let me see if I can ask you a better question. Between the well, the dungeon, and the escape, is everything is that a shared item pool?
The back of the escape in the well, the sanctuary, and then the escape sequence where you're going down and getting Zelda in the original game. Those are all a shared item pool. The items right there where the uncle is not in that item pool. You will never find the key or the map in that particular area, but it's right next door, so everyone kind of counts it as part of the quote-unquote escape sequence.
Okay. So MetroidMst is heading for the dungeon area, and that is part of the sequence with the escape, correct?
Correct. Yes, he is doing the full escape sequence. There will be 3 treasure chests as he's going down here. Plus, there's one in the back of escape in the sewer system itself. So there's 4 treasures left. 2 of them will have dungeon items.
Right. The dark room there I've heard called Dark Cross a lot. That's what I call it. So there's the map. So now there's a small key and then 2 prizes. Do I have that right?
That is correct. And right now, he's probably really hoping that that small key is hidden back in that dark room, because that is out of logic right now. He does not have the lamp. So he's hoping that the two prizes are going to be here directly.
And there's yet another. There's one more prize, yet another energy tank. I believe that's 3 now.
Seems to be pretty healthy for SM at this point in time, at least relative for the early game.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, for any percent NMG, the three energy tanks is all they would get. So. And there's $20.
Yeah, that's actually great news. That small key is unlocked in that dark chest, and we don't have to worry about it at all.
Gotcha. In the meantime, NDIAZ is setting the goose loose.
Yeah, that'll be really interesting. NDIAZ is getting that done. Metroid, though, prioritized doing the escape, and here's why that's interesting. Diaz is probably going to head right up to Death Mountain to check what's going to be 2 items for him. However, Metroid will be able to go up to Death Mountain, check those items, and then cross the bridge with the hook shot. And east side of Death Mountain is just a treasure trove. In Paradox Cave, there's so many items that are available to you.
There's also the cross-game portal there that leads to the Norfair Business Center, where the elevator comes down from Brinstar. There's one item there that can be checked with what they have.
So all sorts of value here. Metroid is doing something super interesting. I think. I believe he is on his way up to the forest. He wants to check to see what's on that pedestal. The pedestal check is kind of an interesting one. There's usually in regular Zelda randomizer, there's only about a 4 to 4.5% chance of anything useful ever being on there. But man, when you know something useful is on there, it can save a lot of time knowing you'll have to clear those pendant dungeons.
All right, let's see what we've got. And so what's that? Is that the other green rupee, or is that a 5?
Couch cash refers usually to 20 rupees. So
okay. All right, so Chad, I'm sorry, but Pet is dead.
I mean, if you really want those 20 rupees, you're more than welcome to it.
Letterface in chat brought up an interesting point. Since we have infinite vertical momentum in Super Metroid with the space jump, and we also have the screw attack, the morph ball could be at the gauntlet Chozo.
That just sounds scary. I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, yeah. Missed that jump, Metroid.
So the top of Spectacle Rock is a +5 arrow capacity. Meantime, NDIAZ is heading on through Desert himself. Cannot clear it without a fire source, despite not being boots locked, if I recall correctly.
Correct, yes. We do need a fighter source, and just a big 20 that is sitting on across this gap. Metroid's thinking right now. It's like, It is a little bit interesting to see, back to version 29, because one of the big changes that came in version 30 for the Zelda randomizer is those hint tiles are out there. And a lot of people make that check now when you're doing standard routing to check that hint tile to see what hint is going to tell you.
I haven't watched a lot of the Zelda 3 randomizer recently. I've been more focused on this, but that is interesting to hear. No value just yet, but we've still got 5 more chests we can check, as NDIAZ is going to brave some dark rooms to rescue Gary.
I'm going to correct you quickly. 6, actually. We have 5 in here. There's also what's known as the Spiral Cave at the top of the mountain on our way back down. So 6 chests that we can still do. And
right.
And then there's that other one, and there's another sword. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. So I say uh-oh because that puts two swords in logic. One that was over on the Super Metroid side, the other one right there that is completely in logic right now. We are a lamp away from having our required Dark World access to come from an Aghanim fight.
Right, and the screw attack explicitly puts that sword at Terminator Room in play because you can use it to break through the bomb blocks that NDIAZ had to speed boost.
All right,
see a pack of 10 arrows on the floating island. Not gonna need that.
Meanwhile, NDIAZ is over here. It looks like he is in Norfair, wanting to check those items that you were talking about. Oh, God. So,
now that shovel's the only one in logic now. He has speed booster. He can look at what this item is for the Crocomire escape. That's just missiles. I think that's vanilla. That's others. That might be super missiles. I don't remember. And if he wants to go out of sequence, there would also be Frog Speedway to the right of that save station. You can sprint down that, go through a very quick heated room, and get to Bubble Mountain. Okay, looks like NDIAZ just popped in and out to force the save, and now he's gonna. Oh right, he's got the infinite vertical momentum from the space jump. He can get all the way up Red Tower if he wants. Meantime, MetroidMst is back in Criteria. He's going to get his checks of the of Old Brinstar in. And he'll also be able to check the item below Mother Brain's tank right here in the old Mother Brain room. Because you do that with Screw Attack. It's that very handily.
Oh, that's nice.
The Various suit. Now that's big. That's heated room access.
Yeah, that even I know that's going to be a significant access there, and that when you already have a way into Norfair, that just seems like it'd be significant.
Okay, that find means that there are a lot of spots now where the morph ball could be in Norfair. So NDIAZ, yeah, he's heading up to the top of Red Tower. There's one item here he can check, but he's not going to be able to get back out because the door, when he gets to the top room past the hellway, that door's going to seal itself with the power. That door's going to seal behind him as a power level. Unless he finds Morph Ball right here, he's going to be stuck.
Well, and it's interesting because Metroid did find power bombs. Those are in logic. Just missiles.
Yep, NDIAZ is resetting. He used the cross-game portal to save, so he'll spawn back at the ship now. Dalthon, no, Metroid items cannot lock themselves in. MetroidMst shine sparks up the old Torian escape shaft, saves a little time.
So we're really, I mean, some of the things that we're missing, we still do not have Dark World access on the Link to the Past side, and we're still kind of missing that Morph Ball on the Metroid side, aren't we? And those are really locking a lot of our progress.
Yeah. Yeah, looks like MetroidMst is going to stay with the ship, and that'll give him a full refill. He's probably out here going to check Gauntlet. As Lenif has said, with what we have, it's entirely possible for the Chozo Gauntlet item to be the Morph Ball. Although, as I said, finding that Various means there's also a bunch of spots in Norfair that can have the Morph Ball. Beautiful Shine Spark up to the Gauntlet access. And he's going to head on through. Meantime, NDIAZ is doing his high roll castle.
Well, NDIAZ noped out as soon as he found that hookshot because he knows hookshot means East Death Mountain. Hoping to find something, he's going to get his Master Sword and starts questioning life choices at this point.
Meantime, MetroidMst only found a missile tank at the Gauntlet show, so he's going to reset out of there to save the backtrack time. If I'm him at this point, I'm going to go back to Link to the Past, flute to Death Mountain, and then go to the business center. Looks like Metroid's a little frustrated.
Yeah, this logic chain is, I mean, usually in the few races that I've seen, you're either going one way or the other, but both routes are really kind of locked behind these guys, not really finding a whole lot. I'm curious what that shovel is, though. That's kind of a one-off location that seemed to be hidden kind of deep in the sphere pool that I just think something's there.
That's just north of Kakariko Town, isn't it? It's the Haunted Grove, I think it's called?
Just south of Kakariko, yeah.
South of Kak, my mistake.
Mind me, Agina has already been checked, and it was, I think, just a pack of missiles, so nothing there.
Ooh, MetroidMst missed killing the Gamer or Nova there. Those two enemies look similar, so he's gonna have to wait for it to come all the way back around before he can kill it to unlock the door. Fortunately, it's a quick mover, so it won't take too long. Epi37, our tracker, confirming that is in fact a Nova. Thank you.
There's that death, and he's on his way now. NDIAZ doing the spiral cave check. With the boots, it's not so bad.
MetroidMst is going to make a save here. If he doesn't find anything in the Bubble Mountain area, he'll probably reset back here. This is what I called Frog Speedway.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Oh dear. MetroidMst did not get the... Did I just see the mirror down there?
Wait, what?
Chad, I think I just saw the mirror at Bubble Mountain.
Mirror on Bubble Mountain. Okay, that's interesting. That will put Tower of Hera in logic on the Zelda side. Nothing else really, but I mean, that's at least 2 items there.
Yeah, there we have MetroidMst abusing the way projectiles accelerate to open that blue gate from the other side. This is in logic with the wave beam, but he didn't find that. So, he's heading down to Crocomire now.
This is my favorite mini-boss in this game, just because it's so terrifying.
Now, Crocomire doesn't actually take damage, but each missile backs him up 1 step, and each super missile backs him up 3 steps. And there's a bridge behind him, so the goal is to back him onto the bridge, which will collapse under his weight, and he will dissolve in the acid.
Yes, he dissolves under the acid, and yet still manages to swim through the lava and scare the pants off of you.
Crocomire energy tank is just a pack of missiles. And yeah, I am not ashamed to admit this part scared the bejeebus out of me as a kid.
Diaz having some problems here in the escape sequence. The ball and chain guard and the green guard giving him heck. Oh no, he's gonna. Oh, I think he's trying to death warp here. And, yep.
Alrighty, post-Crocomire power bombs are going to be a heart piece. There are 2 more items that MetroidMst can check here, and 1 he had to leave behind if he doesn't get Morph Ball here.
So feels like it's that mirror then. Mirror or the shovel at this point.
So yeah, MetroidMst cannot get to the grapple beam the normal way, and he's actually... Right, yeah, he's outside of logic. The normal logic does not expect the gate glitch. So he's actually just gonna give this up and come back later. Morganoth, how are you seeing that this is in logic? Run me by your thought process by me.
NDIAZ suffered through that dark room and realized, oh wait, I didn't have to do this. Oh, but we're finally getting that shovel check here on NDIAZ's side.
Oh, that's right. MetroidMst has to go up and around the long way to get that mirror out of Bubble Mountain. Because the only way you either have to go up and around, or you can get from the bottom to the top with a power bomb, which he can't set because he doesn't have the Morph Ball. But yeah, that's where he's going now.
How rude is the game that gives you power bombs before you get Morph Ball? I mean, come on.
I know, right?
Diaz is setting up that fake flipper. He's going to be doing some logic breaks of his own right now.
Looks like he got that first try. Very impressive. So the cathedral item is just an energy tank. MetroidMst, he's not going to take too much time trying to get it because it's a lot easier. It's possible without Morph Ball, but very hard.
All right, and our hobo has just some super missiles. Man, that is one well-armed hobo there.
Meantime, MetroidMst has reached Bubble Mountain from the proper side. Gonna get his mirror there, and there are 4 or 5 items left he can check. There's the item before the Norfair Reserve tank, 2 in the speed booster area, and then 2 in the wave beam area. Those are all in logic because of the space jump. So pre-reserve room, it's just a pack of 10 Zelda missiles.
So Diaz is actually doing something interesting. This is a play that is in logic, going over here and getting ready to get scammed by Zora. It's a play that a lot of runners try to make with other things, but sometimes it's the only logical play. 500 rupees. The vanilla game, you get the flippers, but you will absolutely need just 20 rupees on Metroid's side.
20 rupees twice on Metroid's side. So let's see what King Zora's got for us.
Scam.
Got a nice big life lesson for us.
And Mr. Broadstone, I object. Cave 45 is a brilliant name for a location.
And it looks like NDIAZ hard reset after Zora, so he's not losing his money. And there's the 3rd sword upgrade at the pre-wave beam room.
That's super interesting. Is that in logic?
It is. That is explicitly in logic because we have Varia and we have Space Jump for vertical mobility. But he's... Oh! Right, the wave beam itself is not in logic because to get out of there you need Morph Ball or you need Gate Glitch. No, actually it would be because of the wave beam that NDIAZ found, but I can't remember where he found it.
Yeah, neither can I.
Oh,
it was relatively early.
Right, but Lenov is pointing out wave beam itself is out of logic. Where was it? I'm blanking on that.
either way, so the answer to our current logic puzzle seems to be Tower of Hera, which, I don't know. Again, I haven't seen a whole lot of these, but I always find whenever we get into a seed where it's very linear, it ends up relying mostly on not necessarily who has the better routing, but who has the better execution and gameplay. Do you find that as well?
Yeah, I have seen that. None of his FB37 reminding us that the wave beam was at Brinstar Reserve, and none of his that is in logic at this point with the speed booster. That is how you normally get there. Now I'm pointing out that we have Ether Tablet available as well as Tower of Hera. And it looks like MetroidMst is going to check all of that now.
Might as well do it while you're here.
Right, and mind of me also pointing out we don't have a fire source, so if there's... Oh, there's that morph ball on the Ether Tablet!
And lo, the gods hath bestowed upon us from the heavens the morph ball.
Alright, that is a lot of Super Metroid that just opened up.
I mean, while you're here...
There's the big key. So, what would we need to have in the basement to lock us out of finishing Tower of Hera?
Nothing. As long as we have the big key in one of the first two treasure chests, then we can complete Tower of Hera. And that's one of our two items within Tower of Hera itself in that boomerang. So right now, we're fine. We can go ahead and at least complete it. Now, it will be interesting if everything else we end up getting are things like the small key and the map and the compass. If this last item is in Tower of Hera and we still don't have a fire source, that could nag on our runners a little bit.
Right, because this is kind of out of the way to come back to, isn't it?
It really is, and you don't want to have to do it again if you can avoid it. And if you're in one of those positions like we have been so far in this race, where you're just kind of looking for one-off locations and trying to figure out what the logic chain is, a one-off location like this will play in the back of your mind.
Well, MetroidMst just found 3 bombs in the small chest, and you said there are 2 prizes here, did you not?
Absolutely. So here's what's going to happen. I mean, it doesn't matter at this point. There's 2. The other items are dungeon items. This is either going to be the small key or the compass. And the last item, the small key can absolutely be locked behind the small key door. That's a logical possibility that was added several versions ago. So we won't care.
MetroidMst gets out of Boulder relatively unscathed. Man, in the race I called last night, HCF Wesker fell 6 times, including 2 doubles. Poor guy.
Ouch. Yeah, that sucks. But MetroidMst gets through it very, very well. Gets his crystal, but I think we're going to be spending some time in Metroid World, aren't we?
Yeah, for sure. We have a lot of Super Metroid. There's a lot of Super Metroid now that's open with the Morph Ball and the Varia. Morph Ball, the Varia, the Speed Booster, Screw Attack, and Space Jump.
Now, and he's going to turn this shovel in real quick, just on the off chance that something horrible is there.
Meantime, NDIAZ found his Varia suit at the Old Mother Brain room, and he is now getting his own Warfare checks in. He'll be able to do the wave beam room, because he did get that wave beam out of Brinstar. MetroidMst gets his +5 bomb capacity. Oh my gosh, it's the Moon Pearl at the wave beam!
That's going to be significant, because, correct me if I'm wrong, it might be a while before MetroidMst comes back to that location.
I think he orphaned that pretty bad by not having wave beam when he checked there.
Now, that's not quite our Dark World access. We still need either a second... we still need a lift upgrade. Or we have one. We still need either a second lift upgrade or the hammer. But that's significant in its own right there. it might be a little bit of time before Metroid MST gets over there.
MetroidMst checks Omega Missiles, which is the last item you pick up in 100% item collection speedruns. It's more power bombs, and that's very welcome because he only had 5 maximum. Now he's got 10. That'll give him a nice buffer until he finds more power bombs or the morph ball bombs. Right, Epi. MetroidMst never went down. He never went down Terminator or to Big Pink.
You Metroid guys and your weird names for things.
So Dom Toretto is a heart piece, and MetroidMst does not have to fight him because the trigger for the fight is having the morph ball bombs.
Ah, that's funny.
NDIAZ is back into Link to the Past. MetroidMst going for what's called the Alcatraz escape. And he doesn't have to do this. He can powerbomb to clear the blocks over to his right.
Yeah, but it's swag. It's swag.
So it looks like he's gonna head down. Looks like he's gonna head back to. Okay, Metroid has the Criteria Shaft Supers he can check here, which is hard locked by the speed boost. And Diaz gets his more ball off the ether tablet. Very nice execution there. There's the gravity suit.
And all the armors for you guys, and none of the armors for Link to the Past.
Honestly, aside from ammo, this is very close to Super Metroid Go mode. Yeah, because for what it's worth, the low percent NMG is only 14 items, and they have a lot of them. Meanwhile, about 5 of those 14 are just ammo. 8 or 9 of those 14 are just ammo and energy. Kudikai 666, yes, they're both playing the same randomized seed.
I mean, I can absolutely understand if you're looking side by side. Are you sure they're playing the same game? Yes, we promise. It's just the crossover. I do thank you, Bach, and all of chat for humoring me. You know, I know that my Z3R stuff upside down. Thank you for humoring me as I'm working my way through this Metroid randomizer. Something I always wanted to learn, and I really hope that me asking all the questions, there might be someone else out there who wanted to give this a shot and never bothered to ask the questions, and I'm not shy.
Yeah, I always do the best I can to break it down for anybody new who might be watching. Just so happens that you're calling it with me too. So NDIAZ whipping out his tempered sword on Moldorm, so that's just 3 swings and goodbye troll. MetroidMst is now heading to the back of Gauntlet. There are 2 items here he can check, but he's got to be careful. There are crumble blocks you have to fall down, and if you don't do it right, you can orphan one of the items. You will see them both regardless, though. MetroidMst gets it, and we've got missiles and a nope tank. Absolutely pointless.
Well, I mean, ammo is still not necessarily pointless right at the moment because we're still looking for. We don't have the charge beam yet, and the more ammo, the better, right?
You are absolutely correct, Vitasia. I honestly, considering the amount of locations that get checked, I don't think I've ever seen charge beam not get found. So MetroidMst is going to be heading down to Green Brinstar. He'll have an extra 3 items close to the elevator shaft he can check, in addition to the 2 behind the Brinstar reserve tank where he'll get his weight beam. Hopefully that reminds him he can go check the actual weight beam location, because that'll get him his moon pearl.
Yeah, not having the moon pearl right now isn't great, but as long as he's still making checks and still finding items, it won't hurt him too much. It's all about just continuing to maintain progress somehow.
There's some more power bombs and 20 Zelda bucks. Okay, worth noting that the Metroid MST now has 15 power bombs, so he will not need to, if the ice beam doesn't show up, he'll be able to kill the Metroids in Torian without having to backtrack to refill his power bombs or rely on Metroid to drop them.
Yes, mind you, they do have the same 3 swords now.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. So Metroid MST now heading into the Etakun area. Interesting fact: the Etakun area is actually the same room in the game map as the elevator room that Metroid MST just went down. Once he gets to the connection point, I'll explain that. Okay, so Metroid MST is very close on having enough ammo to do Ridley at this point, if that was where he wanted to go. Now look at the left side of Metroid MST's screen. There's a little tunnel there that you can bomb out and roll down to get back to the room that Metroid... Hey, there's Kane of Samaria!
I mean, that's something you don't necessarily want to see right now because it doesn't do us a whole lot of good, at least for the time being in Zelda. You're still really hoping for your Dark World access before you see anything like that.
Right, so that little morph tunnel I pointed out, Metroid MST would have come out at the bottom of that shaft where the door was on the left if he'd gone through there. Metroid MST set the power bomb to open the way to Mission Impossible and open the power bomb door over on the right. So normally you have to be careful because those side hoppers hit like a truck, but both suits, not so much. That's 50 rupees at Mission Impossible. And Diaz gets a moonfall down to the bottom of the elevator shaft. Now I'm pointing out, yes, we have access to Lower Norfair with Varia and Gravity, so we can get to the Meyer area through the cross-game portals.
I was just going to ask that. I knew there was some way where we don't need all the logical items. I just didn't know if MITS was part of that equation. That's good to know. That may mean, of all things, I mean, we can't beat Misery Mire quite yet because we still don't have the lamp logically, but it's still interesting to know.
No, the waterway that Metroid MST just checked, that was just a heart piece. I zoned out on what he found at the charge beam location. Probably nothing important since nobody responded to it. Now setting up for another missile acceleration clip, which will let him check Spore Spawn's item without actually fighting Spore Spawn. Gets it first shot, very nice. But normally you'd have to shoot a super missile block there from the other side, but the way he positioned himself, the super missile accelerated in such a way that it hit that block before it could despawn off screen. For his trouble, he gets regular missiles, which is a step down from what it normally is. In the absolute vanilla sequence, that's the first super missiles you get.
I was gonna say, that's how I remember it, but, you know, I'm a scrub noob.
BRB on fire. Yes, we have the screw attack, we have the space jump, and we have both suits.
Well, Metroid MST has both suits. I don't know if NDIAZ has both suits.
No, NDIAZ just has Varia. See how he's orange and Metroid MST is purple?
Yeah. I mean, I remember that much. Where the gravity suit was in a relatively easy to access location, though, as I recall.
Criteria Super Missile Shaft off of the old Torian Escape Shaft. MetroidMst now checking the Green Hill Zone item, or trying to. He finds its vanilla missiles. MetroidMst taking the reverse meme route back into old Brinstar. It's a shield upgrade. Didn't we see another shield upgrade somewhere?
I don't think we have, but it's not necessarily required. There's only a small possibility that shields will ever be required, and typically there are ways around it anyway. So,
okay. There's the magic powder at the beta missiles, the second ones you can pick up in the vanilla sequence. And Metroid's heading up to the Billy Mays room.
The Billy Mays room.
Well, yes, you see the butter sword there, but if you act now, we'll throw in 10 arrows.
Oh my god.
You could also reasonably call it the "but wait, there's more" room.
I swear I'm not judging. I swear.
Yes, you say that, but we don't believe you.
Interesting. The butter sword doesn't actually do a whole lot. It just makes it so that our normal slashes do the same as tempered sword spins, and that spins do nothing. In the original game, actually, butter sword spins. I mean, it comes to the point where there's no point in spinning now.
The MetroidMst is taking the elevator back up to Criteria and the old Mother Brain area. Not sure where he's going to head from here.
But what areas have we still not seen that are in logic for Metroid? Because we're still waiting on quite a bit for the Zelda stuff.
The entirety of Super Metroid is illogic at this point.
Well, okay then. I mean, at this point, do you just start clearing bosses? Or do you keep on trying to make those logic checks to find it? Because we're still missing either at least a lamp or another glove upgrade or a hammer or something. There's just a lot. I don't know. That's actually scary to me, having all of this game open to you.
Looks like NDIAZ is going to head over to the X-ray scope area. There's just one item here, and it's out of the way, but it's easy to orphan this location, if you don't think about it. So X-ray scope is just a full heart, and NDIAZ is not going to bother with that. Meantime, MetroidMst looks like he's heading over to the wrecked ship area. Energy tank at the moat. And there'll be 2 more items he can check before he gets to the boss of the wrecked ship, Fantoon. He's skipping the first one, which is at the bottom of the ocean there. And there'll be 1 item here in the wrecked ship he can check before he defeats Fantoon and turns the ship on. And that's just a big 20.
All right, so Fantoon is next. Now, the speed strat for this is really pretty interesting, isn't it? I mean, I really enjoy watching speedrunners do these bosses because, one, it makes me feel bad.
I know exactly how you feel. Like I watched the big speedrunners like Zost, Oats, and Goats. I watched them play this, and I think, why should I bother? I can't do that. Now, real quick, Force One has 2,500. Fan 2 has 2,500 health, and he is RNG personified in this game. He can move in a fast, medium, or slow pattern here. It's looking like this is going to be a slow. Yep, slow. And there he closed his eye at a fast rate, which is the worst RNG you can get. MetroidMst going for the Doppler strategy there. Once Fantoon is hit enough times, it'll take him 10 frames to close his eye. But if you Doppler effect your missiles, if you blue shift your missiles by moving toward Fantoon as you fire them, you can stun lock his eye open.
Seriously? That's well, I mean, that's really interesting to know that, actually. Like, oh, well, that makes sense how they're able to do things so fast now.
Yeah, it's those little details that I love about races, and especially about watching tool-assisted runs, because they break it like the submissions on task videos do a terrific job of breaking it down. And there we go. MetroidMst has taken out Fantoon. As I was saying, he has 2,500 health. He takes double damage from super missiles, but if a super missile hits him and doesn't kill him, he'll go into an enraged state and sit at the top of the screen for like 30-40 seconds and just send out waves and waves of his blue flames. Wastes a ton of time. But that's only if the super missile doesn't kill him, which MetroidMsts did kill him. So no harm, no foul.
Meanwhile, the ship comes to life, and it's so much more dangerous now.
There are 5 or 6 items here. I'm blanking on the exact number. Actually, 7 or 8 counting the ones outside the ship itself, but still in the same general area. Big 50 at the right side energy tank in the randomizer. Normally that's just a missile tank, but in the Super Metroid Tournament randomizer, that would change to be a major item so that the wrecked ship would have more value. Normally there's only one major item here. MetroidMst gonna head for Sponge Bath. Doesn't actually need to do Sponge Bath strats because he's got the gravity suit. 9 or 10 counting the ocean one, Epi. Yeah, that sounds about right. Okay, a lot of runners make a convenience save before they check this, so if it's nothing, they can reset. MetroidMst did... There's the lamp at Spacer!
That's terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying, because that does mean that AGA might be required for our Dark World access for Link to the Past.
Actually, if we can find Ice Beam, no, we actually have access to AGA to Dark World through the cross game portal in Meridia.
Okay, where does the cross game portal in Meridia take us to?
Takes us to the Dark World Dark World Ice Rod location.
Okay, that is in the Dark World, yes, but that is not in the eastern portion of the Dark World where Palace of Darkness is. So we may still need to do AGA. Maybe, possibly.
Is that part of the Dark World isolated?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, you spawn into that particular area, so it's actually when in the vanilla game, when you beat Aghanim, that whole Dark World area is locked off by the hammer and everything else. So you need the hammer to get out of it. However, for randomizer purposes, it kind of locks that particular one into it, and we might have to do AGA for it.
All right, so we had Ballfish Carolyn saying Ice Rod. I'm not sure where that was seen. Was that seen on NDIAZ's or Metroid's side? Oh, and then Diaz bought the Big Crate DLC. Took him to the prom, whatever you want to call it. Didn't get the quick kill. Also, Carolyn, thank you, confirming NDIAZ saw the ice rod. So that means he must have seen it at the what's it called? The crate power bomb missiles. And in the meantime, at the middle of the ocean, MetroidMst just found a mail upgrade.
Hey, it just means it's clean, right? It's at the bottom of the ocean.
No, that was the middle of the ocean. And I think he's orphaning the top of the ocean item, unless I missed that. And now this is the bowling chozo, which will take MetroidMst down to the gravity suit area. He's got about a 30-second break here. Give him a chance to catch his breath, take a drink, wipe his hands.
Yeah, Diaz just ended up getting that ice rod as well, so that was really interesting to see. I mean, that may be required. We haven't gotten a peek into the Dark World yet, so we don't know if Turtle Rock is going to end up being a required dungeon. That's all we need the ice rod for, is Trinex.
And Diaz found power bombs in the crate energy tank room. Gravity suit area chozo is vanilla missiles. And the wreck ship reserve item is going to be +5 bomb capacity, which MetroidMst will not take. And Diaz now heading over to the ice beam area. I did not see what MST just got off of the gravity suit item. Ice beam item is an energy tank. Bottom of the ocean is 10 arrows. Yeah, wreck ship was kind of a bust, Latiface, aside from getting a boss down.
Yeah, but you hate to have to do too much extra work in clearing all those items when you could go mode that, I'm sure.
Yeah. 20 rupees at the Crumble Tower, which NDIAZ is visiting now. He's taking the vanilla route to Crocomire. MetroidMst now at the top of Red Tower. There's 3 items here he can check. Alpha Power Bombs, Beta Power Bombs, which is this room, and there's an item behind Alpha Power Bombs too. So at Alpha Power Bombs, we've got missiles, and we've got more missiles. So this room is completely vanilla. Maniacal 42. We found the morphing ball on the Ether tablet. We found screw attacks. I can't remember where. Ray Beam was at Brinstar Reserve. Varia Suit was at Old Mother Brain Room. Gravity Suit was at Shaft Suits.
I think, long story short, if we're going to summarize this scene, it's that we were given relatively early access to pretty much all of Super Metroid, but we're still not really fully in Dark World access on Zelda's side yet. I mean, we do have access through that portal that we talked about, but you know, there's certain parts of the world that are blocked off to us.
Yeah, MetroidMst had to orphan the Moon Pearl at the Wave Beam room because he didn't have the Wave Beam, which was at Brinstar Reserve, to get back out of the Wave Beam room without the the Morph Ball, which he didn't have yet, which, as I said, was on Ether, however you want to say it.
Yeah, that Moon Pearl is going to be kind of interesting the longer we go without going back to get that. Of course, Metroid did not know it was there. It was kind of off screen, so we're just hoping that he continues to make progress and eventually heads back there.
Yeah, Moon Pearl was behind a door transition. There's no way he could have seen it. NDIAZ checking cosine wave room. It looks like it's nothing because he doesn't even go over there. MetroidMst gets his lamp out of the spacer room. NDIAZ has 2 more items he can check here. One he's heading up to is Indiana Jones, and there's the hammer! That's our Dark World access.
Yeah, that's significant. That is the item that blocks off the most areas in Link to the Past. So the fact he finds that there, that's super, super nice.
Mr. Broadstone, yes, you did just hear me call a room cosine wave room. So MetroidMst is now up into Meridia when you're going to use his gravity suit. Gets a quick shine spark. Gets a quick shine spark charge because there's a missile here, item here you have to shine spark into. Keeps whiffing the spark though. Oh. Now he's close to it. Yeah, it's just vanilla missiles. He doesn't need that. And it looks like Crab Supers is just a +5 arrow capacity. Mr. Broadstone, yes, Lumberjack was checked early. It's just a big 20. MetroidMst heading over to Mama Turtle as NDIAZ is heading out the Crocomire escape. Mama Turtle energy tank is super missiles. And Mama Turtle missiles is 5 rupees. Post high jump missiles is super missiles. And high jump boots itself is the ice beam. How about that, folks? That's a nice beam.
It surely is.
And it's only about maybe five or 10 map tiles away from where it normally is.
So, help me understand, with that hammer that Diaz just found, Metroid was over into that area, so he's orphaned not only the Moon Pearl, but the hammer as well, hasn't he?
Yes, Lenifus pointed that out in chat.
That's unfortunate.
Very. So MetroidMst is heading up to the, what we call watering hole.
In the meantime, Diaz is going to be back over to Link to the Past, and he's going to be checking the aforementioned and always ridiculed Hype Cave.
And Metroid just found the Zora's Flippers at the watering hole.
Wait. We found the flippers in the water level.
Yeah, laugh it up. Looks like it. Okay, MetroidMst is coming to the aqueduct area, and Diaz is going to check the Bombos tablet.
Just some missiles, it looks like. Oh, and half magic. That's a nice little pickup there.
Half magic and missiles. That's not bad at all. MetroidMst gets a quick fall through the crumble blocks there. Red pendant, red crystal turtle rock, red pendant swamp, green pendant thieves town.
See, that's interesting because that means it's entirely possible that we can orphan those flippers and it would be fine. We can fake flipper our way to Ice Palace relatively easily Those flippers, though, that Metroid ended up finding are kind of off the beaten path, so we might be able to just forget about those, depending on what all is going to be there.
Okay, so the left sand pit is Big 50 and super missiles. MetroidMst is going to reset so we can check the other one easily. NDIAZ is doing Hype Cave. I didn't see anything there aside from money.
What are you talking about? The most important gain in the entire game, the Cane of Burna, was there. It's not important at all, but you know, it's fun. All right, so NDIAZ looks like he's going over here to do Palace of Darkness. He does have all the logical items to get through Palace of Darkness. There are quite a few items that are located in here, 5 total items, although there's a lot of keys, so it can be a little bit of a time sink to go through here. But he's equipped the mirror, butter sword, all the rupees you can want, and can go ahead and full clear the dungeon, so he will not have to come back and do this. He's very well equipped for this.
Meantime, Vitasia found nothing in the other sand pit also, so he's going to head on to Botwoon now.
Vitasia found nothing? What?
MetroidMst, sorry.
I was like, I didn't know I was playing. This might be... Never mind.
Yeah, how do I talk? That's 6 super missiles for out of the 10 it takes to kill Botwoon. 7, 8, 9, 10. Very nice. Although Metroid is kind of low.
It looks like he's not doing great on health right now. Finds it. Hey, speaking of,
that is a vanilla energy tank at Botwoon. Post Botwoon. He sprints across. Be interesting to see where he goes from here. Yeah, at this point, ammo aside, we have Super Metroid Go mode.
We're still a little bit from Zelda Go mode. We still need the Titan Smiths. We still need the Fire Rod. We still need at least 1 medallion, possibly 2. But we're getting there. We're almost there.
Pre-Dragon item is 5 rupees. And MetroidMst is now fighting Dragon. If you folks watch the Evirs closely, you can see them trace out 2 words in English cursive. But MetroidMst is not going to let us see that. They actually
that was just recently discovered, wasn't it?
Yes, the dev who put that little note in owned up to it in an interview 2 or 3 days ago. I just found out about it yesterday. He had them write out Keiko Love as a nod to the girl he was dating when he was working on Super Metroid. MetroidMst really taking it to Dre. Oh my gosh! That shiny spark caught me off guard.
I'll be honest, I don't even really know how to beat this guy without doing the grapple beam trick.
Have you ever tried microwaving him?
I have not.
That's a strategy you can do with the X-ray scope, the charge beam, and the plasma beam. Kuchiri described it last night. It's like the Yellow Devil pause trick in Mega Man. See, because when you have... The game is technically paused while you have the X-ray scope active, but things like invincibility timers keep running down. And Dragon, Botwoon, and Phantoon are not flagged to stop plasma beam shots like other enemies would, because you're never meant to have it for them. So you fire a plasma shot at them, charge plasma shot at them, activate the X-ray scope while it's in them, let the invincibility frames run out, release the X-ray scope and use it again, and so on and so on and so on until they're dead. It's called the microwave. drive strat.
That sounds awesome.
It is. If you want to go back to the HCF Wesker versus Brentisi race I called last night, Brentisi did that strat.
Anyway, Mr. Bach, we did miss Titan's bits that were over here on Diaz's side. So that's one of our missing items for Zelda.
Indeed. Meantime, MetroidMst has gone through Kakatak Alley and is heading over to check the plasma beam location.
All right, Diaz looks like he's done with Palace of Darkness. He's going to go back, take out the Helmosaur King while he still can. Yeah, and Falcon, we absolutely need Fire Rod and at least one medallion, possibly more, depending on what is required to open Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. But we have so much of the world open to us now that it really, we're not sweating that a whole lot at this point in time. The flippers might still be something, but considering that Swamp Palace is a pendant, we might be able to avoid that in its entirety.
And MetroidMst found just 20 rupees at the plasma beam location, so he's probably going to head down to... Yeah, he's going to take the zip tube down through Aqueduct to the bottom of Meridia, and he'll probably head on out of here now. Shack Tool is not in logic, because we do not have the grappling. That is how you logically open the path to get to him.
So, Ubox, let me know what's at stake for these guys. I know we're in the second round of the Swiss tournament. The winner kind of stays alive. The loser really puts themselves behind the 8 ball, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. After the group stage, the bracket stage is only 8 people, so... I believe we had 46 entries in this tournament.
Metroid finds his ice rod. In the meanwhile, NDIAZ does take out Helmosaur with a couple quick slashes with that butter sword.
Delicious, creamy golden butter, and he gets bombos for his trouble. That could be big.
That could be interesting. I mean, we don't know what medallions are going to be required for Misery Mire or Turtle Rock yet, but we can absolutely start heading that direction. In fact, I would not be surprised if we checked at least Misery Mire, because we can go ahead and clear that out with what we have logically.
Broadstone Lenifus, yes, he is definitely locked out behind Moon Pearl, because he orphaned Moon Pearl and the Hammer, Wave Beam, and Crocomire. Once he beats Kraid and heads back down to Norfair, which is the only thing he can really do now, he will definitely be in a good position to check them. And in the meantime, he gets the Kraid quick kill very handily. And Diaz going for fake flippers. Kraid's just hiding a heart piece.
This has me a little bit worried for NDS. He's trying to do the fake flippers, but can't quite do it. That made me wonder if he was trying to go to Ice Palace there. curious where he's going now. Looks like he's going to be checking maybe the South Hyrule check, checking Stumpy, K45, and the digging game.
All right, let's see what MetroidMst does from here. Gotta check the ice beam location. Absolutely agree with that. Or maybe not. Gotta check the high jump. Oh yeah, I think he might be okay. I think he's gonna check the high jump area, then check ice beam, then loop down and around to the Crocomire area, just like NDIAZ did. So Metroid gets his ice beam.
Well, that's interesting. Diaz is actually taking the long way to the digging game? Okay. A lot of digs in this particular digging game. It can be a maximum of 30. Another E-Tank.
21 digs for an E-Tank. Oof. Meantime, MetroidMst's checking the ice beam room. Energy tank there. He's going to grab that. He now has enough to do the Mother Brain stand-up glitch if he wants, although that will only come into play if charge beam is met. Meantime, Diaz is starting the Smith chain and clearing out Village of Outcasts.
Bach, do you know that Smith has a name?
What is his name?
His name is Jeremiah.
Yep.
Because Jeremiah was a bullfrog, and he was a good friend of mine.
Ah, yes, One Froggy Day it was called, wasn't it?
Also doing the hammer pegs over here. Might as well get all this Smith chain done and in line.
And in the meantime, MetroidMst is in fact de-orphaning the Crocomire area, so he will get his hammer here. And Mr. Broadstone, if you're curious, that door that MetroidMst just opened above this room, that leads to the cosine wave room. So MetroidMst gets his hammer from Indiana Jones. Getting a nice running start for the approach to the grapple room, because he doesn't have high jump, and hey, there's the red boomerang at the grapple beam. Anyway, when you have speed booster without high jump, it screws with your jump height.
Meanwhile, Magic Bat gives us another E-Tank. My God, we're very healthy in Metroid, aren't we?
Sure are.
Next patch, shared health between the two. Hearts and E-Tanks shared.
And there's a heart piece at the cosine wave room. Yeah, Morganoth. The pallets are a little off with the Zelda item pallets are a little off in Super Metroid.
Oh, no, that's not good. Oh, okay. Diaz was able to pick it up. I thought he had orphaned his treasure chest there, but we are taking Gary's lunchbox back to him to see what we have.
MetroidMst farming with the screw attack at this bug generator.
Fire Rod.
Fire Rod in the lunchbox. How about that?
At this point, if you are NDIAZ, you immediately check what your medallions are required for Misery Mire and Turtle Rock, you might be in go mode for Zelda.
Meantime, Metroid is heading across the Norfair spiky death room, and possibly he might be going right to Lower Norfair. Yeah, that's what he's doing. And fortunately, if he remembers that he orphaned an item at the weight beam room, when he's done down here, he'll be in the perfect position to check it.
Now, Diaz isn't completely in go mode yet, though. He's still missing his gravity suit, isn't he?
Yes, he did not get that out of the Criteria shaft. So MetroidMst heading around to what I call the Picky Chozo. I explained that earlier, the guy who you have to have space jump to make it work. But MetroidMst does have space jump, so he'll drain this lava for you and open a block so you can proceed.
Meanwhile, we are approaching the Mothula. Now, an interesting point about Mothula, in the original game, you're not supposed to be able to have Butter Sword. So the Butter Sword would actually not do any damage to Mothula when you were in here. It would act really just kind of horribly because it does the weird damage at that point in time. So the randomizer folks had to patch that in so you would at least do some damage to Mothula still.
Meantime, MetroidMst is fighting the Gold Torizo. Both the items that are in his room are trash. No heart piece and 20 rupees. So Metroid's got him stuck. He won't. Yeah, he's kind of stuck there. Got to get him to shoot his group there. So, because you can't hurt him with regular missiles, he'll just turn sideways and dodge them. So you have to use charge shots or super. Obviously, no charge beam, so it's got to be super. Not sure how close MetroidMst is on defeating him, so he's playing it safe, building up a decent number of super missiles before he starts spamming them, because there we go. Gold Torizo catches them and will throw them back at you, but while he's holding one, you can hit him with more. So there's a +5 arrow capacity at the screw attack. And right here, Vitasia, is the cross-game portal that leads to the Misery Mire area.
The other Mire Shed. And Metroid still does not have the Moon Pearl. Now, he does have access over here to the Checkerboard Cave, so he's probably thinking it might be here. But man, this is a bit of a rabbit hole, no pun intended.
And we have just seen that the Misery Mire medallion is Vanilla Ether.
Okay, so not quite go mode for Diaz yet, though he doesn't know it.
Checkerboard Cave is 300 rupees, and it looks like Metroid's going to grab that just in case, probably just in case he needs to buy potions.
And back to Metroid we go for MetroidMst. He's got to be scratching his head. Where is that Moon Pearl now?
Like I said, once he exits Lower Norfair, he'll be in the perfect spot to check that. So the disadvantage is rapidly disappearing. If he remembers that he orphaned the screw attack, that weight beam item. Yeah, Metroid MST farming up super missiles from these rippers who are guaranteed to drop them if you're not full. So Metroid MST now going through fast pillars because there are pillars here and you go through them fast, normally with a shine spark, but screw attack plus space jump works equally well. And now he's on to the worst room in the game. So named because in any percent it's just so hard to do effectively. And not to mention it lags like a jerk.
Lag? What's that? That just means the game slows down to let you get your inputs just right, right?
Now checking Mickey Mouse, it's another 100 rupees. It's gonna take it.
I like that room name.
Looks like NDIAZ is checking, not sure where that is, but it's just missiles.
That looks to be the graveyard ledge at that point in time. We'll probably bop over and do King's Tomb while he's in the neighborhood.
Metroid MST heading to the amphitheater. Got to deal with the rising acid of death. Morganoth, there is no official best room in the game. Okay, heading down for the Musketeer. Well, the Proto Musketeers. Oh, King's Tomb is just a spacer beam. That's nothing. Nobody cares about you, spacer.
I care about you, Spazer. It's okay.
Well, that makes one of us. Now, and I believe this is Wasteland. And gonna check Power Bombs of Shame. Which is a heart container. And for those who might not know, those are called Power Bombs of Shame because you only pick them up if you've poorly managed your ammo and you run out of power bombs in this room.
Or like I do every time.
So left Meyer Shed was 300 rupees and a pack of super missiles. Now finding the elite space pirates. Gotta wait for them to jump up like that and turn yellow before you can damage them. We are now 2 rooms away from Ridley, and it looks like Metroid's gonna farm. Metroid has to farm up. He has enough maximum ammo to take on Ridley, but not enough ammo at this particular moment.
Well, looks like he's happy with this selection. Oh no, just making
He's
sure.
just opening the eye door.
Diaz finds that he is going to require or have that ether medallion requirement, so back to Metroid he goes.
Yeah, he's heading in through the cross-game portal. Looks like he's going to fight Gold Torizo too and get his checks in to see what's here. So he knows he's not going to need to go up and around to unlock the Chozo. I was watching television. Okay, Metroid MST has exactly 30 super missiles. If none of them miss, that will bring Ridley from 18,000 HP down to 0, because he takes double damage from them, and they normally do 300. So each super missile he misses can be substituted with 6 regular missiles.
Oh, he'll be fine then.
Only 1 missed super missile. Very impressive. Looks like NDIAZ is getting his wreck chip check in now, and Ridley is down. Very good fight.
Very clean from the looks of it. I'm
Yes,
impressed.
very clean. And as Lenifus points out, that is all 4 Super Metroid bosses down for Metroid MST. He can now finish the Super Metroid if he would like to. In the meantime, NDIAZ has been cleaning up on crystal dungeons in Link to the Past. He's got Eastern Harapod and Swamp Dam. Or, no, Skull Woods.
Yeah, so he's still has ways to go. Major areas that he hasn't checked yet. We haven't touched the Village of Outcast from the looks of it. At least Village of Outcast proper. He did the Jeremiah checks, but I didn't see him actually do things like Thieves Town at all. At least the first 4 in Thieves Town is usually worthwhile check, even when it's pendant. Misery Mire we haven't checked. We haven't checked any of Dark Death Mountain as well, so there could be some value up there that we're waiting on. And then Desert Palace can be cleared if he wants to. It's the risk at this point in time. You know, what do you do? What don't you do? You have to make a guess one way or the other.
Right. Yeah, Lenifis, I would be very surprised if MST does not go back to Wave after this, because he'll be in the perfect position to do it. Is that you come out of Lower Norfair right there. It's just a matter of whether or not he remembers it. Firefly E-Tank is 20 rupees. Lower Norfair Power Bombs is also 20 rupees. The Hoda Ruby Special is just a heart piece. No, we don't know why it's called Hoda Ruby Special when it really doesn't have anything to do with the famous speedrunner of Super Metroid, Hoda Ruby.
Names are given weird reasons sometimes. It's okay.
And I did not see what was in Franker Z room. I was watching NDIAZ finish off Phantoad.
Now, when there's that wave room spot we were talking about, right?
And MetroidMst is heading right there.
This is going to be great for MetroidMst. Now, the one major advantage that Metroid, I mean, in addition to having all these bosses already down, is going to be those flippers. Now, they're not necessarily required as far as we know, but they are logically required at least to get into Ice Palace. Now, if something is in Swamp Palace, it is a pendant dungeon. But if, for example, the Ether Medallion, which we know is required, is in there, that's huge. That means NDIAZ might be on a bit of a trip.
So MetroidMst is now going to check the Norfair Reserve area. There's two items in here. One of them is 20 rupees, and the other one is a heart piece. And he's just going to nope on out of there. Oh, he picked it up. I think he was trying to avoid it. And Diaz heading through the right ship, Spiky Death Room. Yeah.
Still no gravity suit from NDIAZ. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. We know where it is. He orphaned that location. Metroid's heading back to Link to the Past through the cross-game portal at the business center. And Diaz made a convenient save at Wreck Ship, saw that there's nothing at the Wreck Ship E-Tank, so he's just going to reset.
Metroid looks like he's on his way. He's going to start his Zelda progress at this point in time, doing the same sort of Palace of Darkness dip in here. We know our major progress is going to be the Titansmiths, which he will find here. And then the Fire Rod is going to be a little bit further out. I believe Bombos is also here, but we don't know if that's going to be required quite yet.
Yeah, Bombos was on Helmasaur King.
Was on Helmasaur, yeah. All right, so Diaz is going to be covering spots that we've already seen Metroid do, and Metroid is covering spots that Diaz is already doing. So do want to give a shout out to our tracker, Epi37. Thank you for doing all the work behind the scenes. Makes us look like we know what we're talking about. It's clear I don't, but I appreciate you doing that work, keeping everyone informed. Thank you so much, man. All right, so MetroidMst still working the way through Palace of Darkness. Diaz checking some of these other locations through these mazes. In the meantime, he's going to find his blue mail, which is nice. Not thrilling, but nice.
All right, and Diaz is heading on through the ocean area, heading toward the gravity suit. Well, the vanilla gravity suit, I should say. MetroidMst's making his way through Pod. Seems like they're just kind of trading checks at this point, each doing what the other did earlier.
Absolutely. No one really has a significant advantage over the other. It'll be interesting to see how quickly Diaz can get these bosses down, because that's the real advantage that Metroid has at this point. That Fire Rod is also in kind of a one-off location, so we'll see if Metroid ends up checking that at some point in the near future. There are 6 keys, small keys, in Palace of Darkness, so there are a ton of treasure chests in here that MetroidMst is going to have to open. Unfortunately, just a lot of them are going to be just dungeon items, unfortunately.
In the meantime, NDIAZ is not checking the wreck ship reserve item unless I missed that, but we know that's nothing, so it's not a big deal. Hey, did Diaz get his blue mail out of the middle of the ocean?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Alright, so it looks like MST's gonna head into the dark maze.
He has just about fully looted the entirety of Palace of Darkness, and soon he will be able to go back and do his Helmasaur. The big find, though, was those Titansmiths. That really opens up quite a bit of the Dark World for us.
Is there anything we don't have access to at this point?
I mean, we don't have access to Misery Mire because we do not have the Ether Medallion. But in terms of the overworld, no. We are in the clear to have access to everything.
Also depending on what Medallion Turtle Rock is, right?
Right. I mean, we have the Bombos medallion, and Metroid will have it very shortly. So we know for sure we do not have access to Misery Mire. We know for a fact that we do not have access to Turtle Rock. Now, it is interesting because Diaz does not have the flippers. So that does cut off things like the Waterfall Ferry. It cuts off all of Swamp Palace, all of the flipper lock locations. Most of those you can sequence break in some capacity, except for Swamp Palace. So if those flippers lead to something, that's going to be bad news for Diaz.
I don't think it's as bad as it seems, because he knows he's not in go mode. So I'd be very surprised if he doesn't check watering hole while he's doing his Meridian. Once he finds that gravity suit. That's what's got him stuck, not having gravity.
Yeah, and once he finds gravity, the rest of it just kind of falls in place.
Exactly. Mind of me, yes. If he does do Suitless Meridia, I would think he would skip Watering Hole, because that's very hard to get to if you're doing Meridia Suitless. And Diaz getting his Bomb Torizo check in as MetroidMst just shot the Igor statue in Palace of Darkness. And Diaz also checks his Omega missiles as MetroidMst is heading on. This is the home stretch of Pod, right?
Yes, this is the very end of Pod. He's about to open the door, fight Helmasaur King. Helmasaur King takes quite a few smacks to the face with the hammer, but otherwise it's not too bad.
And Diaz is back at Death Mountain now.
Yeah, I'm thinking Dark Death Mountain is going to be his play. He already knows what Misery Mire is. I think he wants to know what Turtle Rock is, because if you can get into and go ahead and clear Turtle Rock, that's a lot of items that you can check while you're in there.
How many prizes is Turtle Rock?
Turtle Rock itself is 5, but Mimic Cave you can do as part of Turtle Rock, so it's 6. Combine that with the fact that you're doing Dark Death Mountain, which at this point in time is going to be 6 checks as well. It's just a loaded area right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, it didn't come up when the runners were there earlier, but Big Pink, that area, that general area in Brinstar, there's about 31 items in there.
Ooh, that's a lot of items. Spring Ball.
And some Superman.
I mean, I'm going to assume that's a nice to have, not required to have at this point.
Absolutely. There are some interesting tricks you can do with Spring Ball, but they're only expected in the hard logic.
Meanwhile, Hookshot Cave.
$20. Power bombs. The charge beam. How about that?
I think that's nice to see. You're like, okay,
Very
I'm not
nice
going to
see.
be.
NDIAZ does not need to worry about ammo now. If he's got Ice Wave and Spazer, a charge shot from those three together does 300 damage, the same as a Super Missile, which is not bad. And MetroidMst finds the Battle of Mountain Dew on the pyramid.
Diaz checked Turtle Rock, but I completely missed because I was looking at Metroid picking up the Mountain Dew. More ether. Okay, chat, thank you for calling that out.
Thank you.
That's actually really good news, because that means that we're not going to, like, as soon as we find ether, we're in go.
Looks like Metroid's heading up to check Catfish, I think.
Yep, I'm doing the catfish check. One of two fishy friends, quote unquote.
NDIAZ is checking Spike Cave for a bomb capacity upgrade. It looks like Metroid's getting ready to mirror back to Zora's domain after Catfish. Catfish gives us a full heart.
Now, this is one of those checks that NDIAZ could sequence break if he wanted to, but has not done. 3 hundo and just a piece to heart. And then we already know that Zora's a scam artist today.
Yep. So what's Metroid doing now?
He's doing Zora.
Oh, was it NDIAZ who did it earlier?
Yeah, NDIAZ was the one who did Zora earlier.
Ooh, that's a heck of a brain fart on me.
It happens.
Well, yeah, keeping track of all the stuff it can get tiring.
One game is bad enough, but we're doing 2 at the same time, and we're at hour 2 in this particular race. I think a mistake or 2 is acceptable.
All right, looks like NDIAZ is going to get his. He's going to get his Thieves Town on. I believe I've heard one of these first 4 chests has to be the big key.
Absolutely. Because the big key door is so early in this dungeon, one of the first 4 have to be the big key. Pendant Thieves is always just a little bit of a concern, too, because it's such an easy dungeon. Yep, there's the big key. It's always, I don't know, almost dangerous to skip Thieves Town, even if it is a pendant, because it's so easy and there's so few requirements to get in here. Dalphin also pointing out in chat that it is Green Pendant Thieves Town, which is another item that we can turn into Shamalama Ding Dong.
Good point. Where's Metroid heading now? Oh, he's gonna grab his silvers.
Yeah, silvers. You can beat Gaiden without the silvers, but man, it just makes it so much easier.
And it looks like he's gonna head over to Ice Palace now.
Yep, does have logical access for it. It's a reasonable check. Not great because there's only 3 items in here, but it'll be a worthwhile check. The problem is he doesn't have the fire rod, which we know is in Gary's lunchbox.
He's got Bombos and half magic to substitute. It'll just take a little longer for the Bombos cutscene.
Well, the other thing is you know, at this point, we're kind of in a position where as soon as we find Ether Medallion, you would want to see someone in go mode and just start blazing through. If someone ends
Yeah.
up finding it, the problem is, oh, Quake.
Oof. Get your not like this is in chat for quick, folks. I don't think Metroid meant to go through there all the way. Maybe he did.
Ether cannot be in Meyer because Ether is also required to open up Meyer. Morganoth. What if I were NDIAZ? What I would be most worried about right now, if you're a fan of NDIAZ, is if Ether is in Swamp Palace, because Metroid has full clear access and can go ahead and do Swamp Palace, even though it is a pendant. It is 6 items in Swamp Palace. Very dense dungeon with a lot of item checks to do there. Plus, NDIAZ does not have the flippers, so it is a flippers required location. So that would be worst case scenario for NDIAZ at this point in time.
I don't think gravity leads to flippers, so I'm not sure how that would work in the logic. Yeah, flippers are in Meridia, which you need gravity to navigate properly in the normal logic.
Oh, Diaz getting close. Man, he clutched that one out. Mushroom! We have another fetch quest, plus the green pendant.
Do you want to do a fetch quest?
Man, and here I was told I wasn't allowed to sing anymore on SG.
You're not. Doesn't apply to me.
Sad trombone.
Oh, Metroid is now up to Cold Stare. Has he orphaned any prizes in here? Do you know? Can you tell?
Yeah, he has. He got through that way too fast. I didn't see all of the items, so I don't know if how many he's orphaned, but I know he's left some treasures behind. Diaz is coming over here, and I think he's going to mirror to turn in this green pendant immediately. Cape.
Blah.
Yeah, we saw Bumper Ledge earlier. It was not necessarily anything, so that's the only thing logically that the cape is locking at this point. Metroid going to be doing his hobo check here directly.
We know the hobo's just armed with super missiles.
I mean, you say just armed with super missiles. Let me tell you, hobos armed with super missiles, that just seems dangerous in this world.
Well, to be fair, he doesn't have an arm cannon to launch them out of, so it's no big deal.
You know who else was a hobo that was armed with a bunch of super missiles? Tony Stark in a cave, and look what he was able to do.
So he used a box of scraps to do that. Okay, what's Metroid doing now?
Looks like he's going to be doing Meyer's shed check. He should have already known Misery Meyer was Ether Medallion. Diaz is doing this mushroom check, turning in the mushroom for our fetch quest. This should be interesting.
mushroom just turns into missiles.
Yeah, at this point, we're starting to run out of locations. We've checked a lot of the dense ones. I think Swamp Palace is starting to look very, very attractive at this point. Unless there's some individual item locations that are available in Super Metroid that we just haven't checked yet.
The vast majority, if not all, of Super Metroid has been checked.
So it's either was orphaned in Ice Palace or it's in Swamp Palace. Neither necessarily good news. We saw Diaz struggling with the fake flipper to get to Ice Palace earlier, and he is changing his mind.
Would there be a prize left on the land molus in Desert, or did we find all the prizes there?
That's a good question. I think we found only one of the prizes, so there might be something in Lamo. Chat doing the heavy lifting for us. Yes, Landmo does have an item. Thank you. And that murder dactyl is giving Diaz some trouble.
Yeah, Morganoth.
Landmo could have ether. It could be in Ice Palace somewhere. It could also be in Swamp Palace, which would be interesting for Diaz because he still has to make that play over to get to the gravity suit to get the flippers.
So Diaz took the cross-game portal in MetroidMst to lower Norfair. He's probably gonna take out Ridley at this point. Gets the fast pillar shine spark.
Meanwhile, Metroid is going to be checking these northern Hyrule checks. Bonk Rocks, King's Tomb, and Graveyard Ledge. The main thing right now that Metroid is missing, as far as both of them need either medallion, yes. What the one person has that the other one doesn't, Metroid needs to get the Fire Rod, which is in Gary's lunchbox, part of that blacksmith sequence chain. Meanwhile, NDIAZ might need to get the flippers. We do know he will eventually have to get the gravity suit, but the gravity suit will lead to the flippers, so it seems to be he'll eventually have to get on that chain. The Fire Rod, though, it's a little bit out of the way, and that's a check that some runners just don't check unless they're forced to. It's one of their last checks. So we'll see what Metroid ends up doing here before too long.
And Diaz is well on his way to Ridley. Dr. Emma Mine, they have powder for Bat, but Bat is nothing. And Diaz check.
Yep, Bat was unfortunately a bupkis. Worth noting, I think, yeah, Metroid is the only one who's able to get the silvers up to this point in time, simply because the silvers do require getting the flippers at this point in time. So I don't know if Diaz knows how to do Silverless Ganon. To be perfectly honest, I'm not familiar enough with him as a Zelda runner.
So NDIAZ is now fighting Ridley. He's got plenty of ammo to take Ridley down. Oh, looks like MetroidMst is going to start the Smith chain, or the digging game first, probably, and then hopefully he'll do the Smith chain and get his fire rod out of it.
Yep, that would be absolutely good. You have to do the digging game before you do the Jeremiah chain. Unfortunately, the digging game vendor kind of scolds you a little bit if you have anything or anyone following you, be it Jeremiah or Purple Chest. Morganoth asks in chat, what's the most troll seed I've ever seen? Well, to be perfectly honest, I've not seen a ton of the cross-world rando.
And Dr. Amamine, you cannot... There cannot be Super Metroid progression in Ganon's Tower. NDIAZ is now making his way out of Ridley's lair. Well, MetroidMst checks the hammer bag since he's just a missile there. I do not remember if Metroid got the magic power.
I honestly don't believe so, but we'll find out here directly. I'm sure he's about to pause. Yes, he did.
Okay.
All right, so powder is checked. MetroidMst will be, I believe he will be picking up, the treasure chest shortly, which does have the fire rod in it. He doesn't know it yet, but he's about to be very happy.
Or he's about to be very salty, you never know.
It's all going to come down to that ether medallion, though.
We have go mode aside from that, I believe.
Well, in particular, Metroid will. Diaz is still missing that gravity suit, and then wherever the ether medallion is, who knows?
Right. So MetroidMst getting his check of K45. It's absolutely bumpkus. NDIAZ checking the North Air Reserve, and MetroidMst about 5 seconds from getting his fire rod.
Fire rod is go. That if he hasn't already thought about going up to Dark Death Mountain to check to see what's on Turtle Rock, he will directly.
He's frustrated.
Well, I think he has a right to be. This has been kind of a seed that's really drug these guys around.
So Metroid's going to finish up Skull Woods. They've both checked pad already, minded me.
Here's Diaz, fake flippering. Looks like he's on his way over here to Ice Palace.
Yep, he's going to check on the ice.
It is worth noting, Metroid did clear out Ice Palace, but didn't check all the chests, so it's possible Ether is here.
So it'd be interesting to see what NDIAZ does here, and see if he makes the checks that Metroid did not.
So often in randomizers, it's not just about the checks that you make, it's the checks that your opponent doesn't make.
Right. Dr. Amamine, the only thing we're looking for now is Ether. NDIAZ is still looking for Gravity too, but we know where that is. And you see Mothula's been taking some lessons from Mother Brand, because those look like Rinkas that Mothula is shooting.
Only they are not nearly as friendly.
Indeed.
A nice clean kill there, rewarded with another energy tank.
This is a very healthy seed for both games.
It really is. 15 hearts is quite a bit for Metroid side.
So what's left that Metroid can check before we head for Swamp?
I still don't think he's done Dark Death Mountain at all, which would be a good check, logically, although we've already checked it and we know it's not there. There's still that land mode check, which we haven't done. And I think that's it.
I'm trying to think if there's anything orphaned in Super Metroid. I don't think there is.
Okay, here comes these hammer checks on NDIAZ that we did not check on Metroid side.
There's a small key, and there's how many more items are there in this area? Is it just this one here?
just this one. Okay, that's a map. He also did not check the big treasure chest and then the treasure chest here in this next room that that you typically wait till the end to get. Bombs and Metroid.
Lenif is pointing out we didn't check Shack Tool, but that's not in logic anyway because we don't have grapple beam. Dalphon saying that we've still got Ice Tea and Big Chest we can check in Swamp. No, Ice. Duh.
Yep. Ice-T is where it looks like he is headed right now. It's really kind of a rough place to get to, but it should be right around the corner here. And of course, it's the big key.
What do you need the big key for in Ice Palace? Are there big key doors you need to get through, or can they be avoided?
They can be avoided. It would be for the big treasure chest.
Okay.
So that would...
MetroidMst gets his charge beam out of Hookshot Cave. And NDIAZ is going to check the Ice Palace big chest. And it's just an energy tank.
So that's it. That does mean that Ice Palace is nothing. So that's actually great news for Metroid. Metroid finishes Dark Death Mountain checks. Now, where are you going? It looks like he's going to be doing Thieves Town, which D has already cleared, and we know is nothing, unfortunately. So, at this point in time, we're still only a few checks away. It's looking increasingly likely that Swamp Palace is going to end up being the play, which is great news for Metroid.
Is there anything else that can be done at this point?
That we haven't checked? Not to my knowledge, no.
Okay.
It looks like we've pretty well cleared it all. I mean, there is that land mow that's still out there, but that's one check versus 6 in Swamp. I'll take that bet.
Gotcha. I would take that bet too.
But Diaz is going to see if it's land mow, though.
I like DS's calls. You never know. It's the nature of the Rando Beast.
Well, as far as he knows, because he hasn't found the flippers yet, this is the gamble to make.
Right.
And Balfin pointing out that the music will tell you if it's a pendant or a crystal dungeon, unless you're playing Key Sanity in Link to the Past Randomizer, in which case that music is also randomized so you don't get to cheat.
If memory serves, finding the map in a key sanity seed will tell you if it's a crystal or a pendant, correct?
Correct, but that's the only way. Then you can do the map check and determine. Diaz, unfortunately, showing us just missiles, so it's swamp at this point.
So NDIAZ is hard resetting to head back to the ship. So he knows he's missing something in Super Metroid. He'll be in a good position to go check the shaft if he remembers he hasn't checked it. And yeah, I think that's what's about to happen. That's the only logical place he could be going. Just in case you didn't realize, you didn't hear, or you came in late, flippers are at watering hole.
There's the gravity suit, so he'll be able to finally head to Meridia. He'll be able to clear that out, and that is where the flippers are at.
Indeed. Looks like Metroid took a beating from Blind. Got it, though.
A little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Metroid immediately getting over to turn that green pendant in and immediately being filled with disappointment and regret.
So NDIAZ got his gravity suit and he went back to Link to the Past. So what's he doing now?
I have no idea.
Oh, he's taking the cross-game portal to the business center and then coming up to hit Meridia from that direction. It's a lot faster than going there the overland route.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So you can kind of see Metroid asking, "What am I doing with my life right now?" as he turns in the mushroom and is disappointed with that reward.
Yeah. Now he's probably headed to turn in that green pendant. Yep.
Double disappointment.
And Diaz getting his Mamaturl check-in. Not sure what Metroid's doing.
Oh, Metroid's coming back over here to Ice Palace. He realized that he had left some stuff here and thinks, "Oh, I have to go back in here."
Oh, yeah. Metroid's lead is disappearing pretty quick.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate check. Leaving those items there and then doubling back, he made the gamble. This is one of those situations where I would always recommend to any runner and any randomizer, if you make a gamble on something, stick to your gamble, because if you lose, if you make a gamble and you lose because of it, going back and hedging your bet, it's still lost time.
Yeah, I get that. I get what you're saying.
It is interesting that he seems to rather double dip Ice Palace than dip Pendant Swamp.
Yeah.
And there the
Diaz got
flippers.
his flippers. It'll be interesting to see where he goes now.
Well, I think Diaz is going to be going ahead and clearing out Meridia as best as he can and then saying, yeah, I'll be done.
Diaz going to do what Metroid did earlier, make a save here so he can check the 2 sand pits, which we know are nothing.
Yeah, it's worth pointing out that Metroid still has silvers, and that saves time on Ganon, and it absolutely saves time on Ganon's tower as well.
Right.
All right, sand pits for Diaz.
What does Metroid have left he hasn't gotten here?
Big treasure chest.
Right, big chest.
Well, he has to do iced tea room to get the big treasure chest, and there was an item in there. I hope he's not gambling again.
Oh boy.
It does look like Metroid might actually be making the play to Swamp Palace, though, right now.
Where else could he be going from here? Oh no, he's heading back to Dark World. Oh no, he's got to do that anyway.
Yeah, he has to go into Dark World because he has to get a mirror spot right outside. Yeah, he just left an E-Tank there in the big treasure chest. But, I mean, he didn't know it, so we can't... Oh, Diaz looks like he doesn't have a whole lot of ammo here. He's got to use charge shots at this point.
Which is not terrible, but it is slower.
All right, so Metroid is having to work through here. We're just looking for ether. As soon as we're in, we find ether, we are officially in go mode. We can nope out.
I believe we said there are 6 prizes here, correct?
There are now. Let's assume, for argument's sake, that chat is as trolly as they are in normal Z3R rando. And the grapple beam is an early check. Do you nope out of here and then do Shack Tool? I'm Hoping I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah, Shack Tool is how you say it. I don't think you do. If it was me, I would finish this just in case. Or at least count items until I know I've got all the prizes. Vitasia, take a look at this room NDIAZ is entering now. Off to the right is a hidden area that normally leads to a missile refill station, but in the crossover rando, that's the cross game portal that goes to the Ice Rod Dark World cave.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Just the compass. Now, in lore, help me out here. These are fake Metroids that are in there. They're like genetically engineered, and they're inferior Metroids somehow.
Yes, they're called mock droids.
All right. Looks like he's going right side, which is a less dense check, but if you have to full clear it, it's faster if you can do it first time.
Gotcha.
It's not popular though, because if you're in go mode, because the back is more dense, a lot of people end up just full clearing it and banking on that.
Meantime, NDIAZ is almost done with Dragon, and there she goes. Frognet, wrong prize.
Hey, we have SMZ3 strats now.
Yeah, but who the heck wants to do that?
People who want the swag points.
Oh, yeah.
So, chat, help me out. How many items? I have lost count. I've been kind of keeping track of a couple screens here. How many items are we at?
I lost count too. I believe we've seen both the compass and the map, so
everything else, I mean, yeah, everything else will be back here.
I think Tracker Epi is saying we only saw the map.
There's a big key.
There's a nope tank. So, does Metroid go back for the big chest now?
It's what he's doing, apparently. And getting the glitch staircase.
What happened?
Well, this staircase is weird because it is glitched when you go up it the first time. It pops you out a couple pixels back so that when you get to the top of the staircase, it immediately puts you back down. Good call.
And that's it. 2 hours, 44 minutes, 15 seconds. MetroidMst is now in go mode. Based on medallion and based on dungeons completed and bosses completed, I think, and where the runners are, I think this is Metroid's Race to Lose at this point.
Yeah, but never say never in go mode. It's worth pointing out. Okay, yeah, he did get the charge beam. Weirder things have happened in Rando, so I'm not going to count Diaz out of this rate.
I've seen a lot of weird things calling these rando races. Yep. All I meant was MetroidMst has the advantage at this point.
No, absolutely. And in the straight line race, he absolutely has the lead even. But don't count Diaz out yet.
All right, you see Diaz going to the Alms, those are called, and heading for the cross-game portal. So you said this area is actually, which area was it you said was isolated? Was it the pod area or was it this area?
The pod area is actually isolated. So coming through from this side means that you actually could not get to Palace of Darkness if you didn't have the flippers or the hammer.
Okay. So it looks like Diaz is heading up to grab his silver arrows before he does anything else.
I mean, that's smart.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Metroid just getting bodied there in that room. He's still looking for that big key, looks like.
And Diaz going to finish up the Zorosphere checks. Diaz takes a bath in the waterfall, waiting for the duck.
Here's the
He'll be gonna
grapple
head
beam.
for Swamp 2. What's up?
Metroid just found the grapple beam.
Oh, in Meyer. Okay. Good for him. So yeah, and Diaz is making the Swamp play too, so he'll hit his go mode rather shortly. And I think from this point, it's going to be all about execution.
Absolutely. So we'll have, Diaz is going to have to get his Ether Medallion. Then he's going to be about a misery Meyer behind, I think. But they have silvers. They have plenty of health, honestly. So Turtle Rock, Ganon's Tower, Ganon himself, and then Mother Brain, right?
Yep.
MST kind of taking the long route.
So here's another question for you, Fantasia. Are you more a fan of when the runners do the same things, or do you prefer it when the routes diverge?
I love route divergence myself. As a fan, I think that's the spirit of Rando. When it's a very linear seed, it can be exciting for some people. I fully acknowledge that. For people where it just becomes an execution battle and little, micro adjustments here and there will make the difference in the race. But I love to see just crazy route divergence where one person making a stupid gamble wins it, because that's the only way I can win a race.
Yeah, going a little off topic for a second. Super Mario 64 Tasker Sonic Backer does a little task competition on YouTube, and I asked when the tasks he sets are who can find the best way to do this, as opposed to there's one way to do it, who can optimize it the most. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
MetroidMst reaching for the fairy. Could he have gotten that with the bug net?
Yes, he could have. But then he
but it's there.
Catch it, yeah.
I don't think he's had to use the fairy in a bottle he found earlier. So...
All right, now we're going to get to a very fast, vitreous fight. Silvers just do a ton of damage here. One
once
arrow
over
per
a
eye.
piece for the little eyes, and two for the big eyeball. Oh! And what's Vinny holding? A map.
Just a burrito. Meanwhile, so Metroid is complete with Misery Mire on his way up Turtle Rock.
Alright, and Diaz has that big key. Let's see what he does now. Hopefully he goes back to the big chest as well. Otherwise he's going to lose a lot of time. Oh, he gets the stair glitch too.
Yeah, I hate that staircase. Everyone hates it.
Yep, he's going back.
Perfect. He will also be in go mode here directly. So
That's in about 2 hours, 51:07. That's about 7 minutes behind MetroidMst, I think.
Yeah, weirder things have happened. I mean, we can have, horrible Trinex fights. We can have left-right side gambles in Ganon's Tower.
Could have Moldorm 2 falls. Could have Ganon falls, even.
Yeah, I used to joke not too long ago. I would say that a runner is about, 2 or 3 Ganon falls behind and use Ganon fall as a unit of measurement. And then I commentated a race where someone legitimately had 6 Ganon falls and almost lost the race because of it, and I felt horrible.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
Alright, so...
What all do we need out of Turtle Rock in terms of small keys and obviously the big key?
Well, I mean, we do need quite a few small keys as we're getting through. There's, 4 small keys total, and we can steal one from a pokey here a little bit later. The ideal routing, go mode Turtle Rock is not that much longer or shorter than having to full clear Turtle Rock. We'll be able to skip the wonderful Mimic Cave if we so desire, but the real goal is to have a key prior to entering the laser bridge area so we can skip all of the laser bridge, because that can be a minute or two check by itself.
Gotcha. Well, there's the big key and also the morph ball bombs. We don't need them at this point, but it will be a nice little safety item for when they get to Torian. You can use them if the Metroids grab onto you, you can use the regular morph bombs to knock them off.
So that's nice. Not thrilling, but nice. Oh!
Yeah, that's how I'd put it. Yeah, morph bombs are really just a convenience item at this point.
And unfortunately, Diaz took a death at the worst possible time there. All right, Metroid working his way, gonna be stealing the small key, I believe.
exactly is meant when you say stealing a small key?
Okay, well, I will show you. The key that he is about to take off of this pokey is designed to be able to open up this door that's right here. Normally, that is the vanilla big key location, and we're required to open it to get the big key. However, this is Randomizer. We already have the big key, and we know that's just an item that we won't need. So we don't have to open that door. So we can steal it and use it a little bit later and hopefully avoid the laser bridge.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, little, route optimizations like that have really been a part of the Zelda community for quite a while, and it's almost normal routing at this point in time. Metroid deciding, thought he was going to skip the big treasure chest, but decided, let's go get that big treasure chest just in case it's a small key, because really, it's all about the keys at this point.
And it doesn't take that much longer anyway, does it?
Not in particular, and regrets his life decisions with a compass. So this is where we'll know if... No, it does not look like we are able to skip the laser bridge based on the keys that we have, because we do have to open up this door. So unfortunately, we are going to have to go through laser bridge, and there was a small key likely in the key door that we skipped.
Gotcha.
It happens.
Looks like
Random's going to random.
Okay, I thought Metro was going to take a detour to get that full magic pot in here, but I guess not. Meantime, NDIAZ is just about up to Beatrice. I'm gonna take him down.
So in order for the laser bridge in Turtle Rock to be in logic here, you do have to have one of the invincibility items, either the cape or the cane of Burna, or barring either of those, you do have to have access to all three shields in logic. People forget, because we are so many runners in the Zelda community are able to do the laser skip, that they forget that it's actually logically required to get through here.
Metroid gets a perfectly timed heart piece to trigger a full refill, and he just needs that one small key, right? That he can just nope out of here now?
Absolutely. He'll dash right past and say, no, I don't need the other two. Meanwhile, we are on our way to Trinex, which is kind of an interesting fight. NDIAZ is approaching Turtle Rock at the same time. You do have to be a little bit careful, but we're well equipped. Butter Sword usually makes this a pretty quick fight.
The Metroid going hard on the Trinex heads. So that's the elemental heads down. Trinex's shell is down. Elminster making an interesting point about MetroidMst. He plays Zelda on a controller, and he plays Super Metroid on a keyboard.
That's weird. Can I say that's weird? Am I allowed to say that?
Very. I wouldn't say it. Not sure I'd say it's weird, but if you can appreciate the difference between the two words, I'd say it's strange.
I can
And
see that.
at any rate, we've got the Ganon's Tower guessing game to go. There are 22 locations where that big key can be. So let's get your guesses in, chat.
$21. We have a wonderful bot that we end up checking. I have, through the entirety of the Z3R tournament through the fall, I have guessed 9 every time. I have yet to be right. I'm sticking with 9.
And I'm sticking with 4 always wins. That's what I always do.
All right, going to start here with the right side, very common opener. And if there's a key in one of these two, hey, high jump boots.
But MetroidMst is going to head up and go check the left side. Item number 3, the torch, is super missiles. Yeah, he's going to take them. NDIAZ making their way through Turtle Rock, and we've got chest 4 is the map, so I lose. Chest 5 is another small key. Number 6 is some missiles. Number 7 is the plasma beam. How about that? We have now seen all 5
nice.
Super Metroid beams. So that will make Mother Brain Phase 2 very, very quick. And that's number 8, I believe, Heart Piece.
Yep, so number 9, the Fire Snake Room here directly.
And that's another small key for number 9.
Coming up to the rando room, 10 through 13. So called because in the vanilla game, we never checked this room. No reason to. That's number 12?
Yes, that was number 12. Congratulations to Silver Ray 64 for guessing correctly. Well, I'm sorry, chat. Did I fire that command a little too early? My bad.
It happens. It's all right.
And the first time I've ever used the commands myself, so...
So Metroid is going to start his gauntlet climb up Ganon's Tower. I mean, blue mail, silver arrows, butter sword. I don't know if you could possibly ask for any more equipment. No blue potions, I suppose.
Hearts. So is there anything he could possibly be looking for here that he might go for a... He might open some more chests other than small keys?
Honestly, no. I mean, he could theoretically really want his other armor upgrade. He could theoretically want, I don't know, a blue potion, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, so Metroid MST is now onto the escalating gauntlet, because you've got enemies and conveyors first. Then you've got this room, which is enemies, conveyors, and a laser. Then you've got enemies, conveyors, multiple lasers, and spikes.
Then let's just throw in some ice into it.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's the gauntlet of escalation, as I refer to it. And then you have which is ice, enemies, and a pea shooter and a laser.
I always feel like that particular part of the gauntlet is something that Dr. Evil created. Like he's telling his henchmen, is like, I want conveyor belts and I want skeletons and freaking laser beams.
I love it. And Metroid gets a reasonably fast Land Molus 2 fight. And Metroid MST shows us his prowess as an author with the book. He's trying to write a book called The Wizrobe Massacres, but he's not doing too well. Having some trouble. Having trouble with that rough draft. And that was the Wizrobe Massacres 2 Electric Boogaloo, the critically panned sequel. One of these days we'll get the Wizrobe Massacres 3 Tokyo Drift.
One of these days. Diaz actually is looking like he's going to have a faster Trinex. He was able to get the menu switch off. When the heads are exploding, you cannot pause your menu to switch your rods over. So he paused beforehand, was able to get a little bit faster of a Trinex, probably saved 10 to 15 seconds there. Not enough to really catch all the way up, but it's those micro adjustments that you have to make as you're going.
Right. It's something. The Metroid not even going to bother with the switches here. He's just going to head right for Moldorm 2.
No real reason to, like we said. The only thing you might possibly be looking for is a potion or red mail. And if you're in a speedrunning community, you're accustomed to fighting Ganon with much less equipment. And here we go to Geometry Boss number 1. Or number 2, really.
Start off with one hit. Then a double to follow that up. Another one hit.
Now we're starting to get into a dangerous place where everyone's kind of off center, but there he goes down.
That was 1, 2, 1, 1, 1.
Alright, so Metroid is on his way to Mr. Blue Bacon himself right now.
I believe with the Butter Sword, it's 6 slashes per phase.
Yeah, it's super short.
So now Metroid's going to play it super safe here. He's on 5.5 hearts and blue mail. Normally you would have red mail. That's the Ganon's Tower Big Chest.
No, took a fire bat and did not switch phases here, so this is going to be a little rough for Metroid.
I think he does still have that fairy he got way back when, though, so he shouldn't be too bad.
Meanwhile, Diaz is about to pick up his Ganon's Tower Big Key directly. I'm curious in these crossovers, because Ganon usually gives you a hint here directly that says, "Did you find the silver arrows in blah, blah, blah?" If they're in Metroid, what will he say?
He will tell you where they are. He will tell you which region they're in, and I believe he will also distinguish between Norfair and Lower Norfair.
That is good to know.
I know he'll say Brinstar, but I don't think I've ever seen them outside. I think that's the only there and Lower Norfair are the only two places I've seen in the races I've watched call.
Oh man, half a heart.
But he gets it. So get
Watching
your single
that
G's
out.
in chat, folks.
Well, we still have a mother brain to kill, don't we?
Like I said, single G for one game. Say all you have to do, Metroid, is save and quit, then hard reset. You'll spawn right back at the ship.
Likes to do things the hard way, apparently. This could be an opportunity for Diaz to gain some more time.
Surely. MetroidMst equips his plasma beam because that will not automatically equip because of a possible conflict with the spacer. The beams use a simple index to determine what they're supposed to do. Any combination of plasma and spacer overflows that, and the game does random stuff at really weird random stuff.
All right, so we are on our way. Very clean land mode 2 by Diaz, by the way.
Good deal. I did not catch that. So NDIAZ making his way through here, missing the Samaria blocks on the Wizrobes.
Metroid just flying through these rooms.
Let's see if he's going to go for the baby Metroid step. He's got the equipment to do it. I don't know if he knows the trick, though. Okay, yeah, I think he's going for it. The idea here is you get the baby Metroid kind of orbiting around you with the way you move, so it never latches onto you.
I always thought that was theoretically possible, but I never knew how to do it.
It is humanly doable. You see, he's got it going good. Almost. He got it!
GG. That saves quite a bit of time through that cutscene, doesn't it?
Yeah. It also saves you having to refill your energy because the baby Metroid will drain you down to 1 health if it does grab you. It looks like Metroid's going to go for... Yeah, he's going to go for the stand-up glitch, and he's also going to try to glitch through the Zepatite barriers here. He gets that easily. So, since the first one was never destroyed, 2, 3, and 4 never spawn, and the wrinkles are frozen, the Mother Brain's glass tank takes 18 shots to destroy the glass, and then she has 3,000 HP. Now we transit... Alright, we've done phase 2, which has 18,000 HP. Charged Ice Wave plasma shots will do 900 damage, so that's 20 shots. And for those who might not be aware, Mother Brain is a cook because she has food-based attacks. You see there the chicken nugget, some onion rings, another chicken nugget. She's going for the ketchup beam now. I didn't see her actually shoot it, but I guess we're not going to see that. We also didn't see the French fry beam she shoots out of her little eye.
That's, I don't know if that's so much of a cook, more like a McDonald's employee.
Perhaps. Now, MetroidMst is staying in the air because watch the sprite. Right there, the game tried to force Samus to a kneeling pose for the cut. This should be a cutscene. But since MetroidMst was in the air, the forced kneel didn't work, so it just had to stay up until the baby Metroid detaches from Mother Brain, and then you can start pumping charge shots into her to deal damage for phase 3. Now, Mother Brain Phase 3 has 36,000 HP, which is 40 charged Ice Wave plasma shots. It is humanly possible to fire enough shots to drain her health to 0 before the cutscene ends, but it's very, very close. Also have to be careful to keep the baby Metroid on you. Once your health is full, it will stop moving. So if it stops in the wrong position, you can soft lock. See Mother Brain starting to change colors. See how far Metroid is going to push this.
Two shots.
I believe that was 3 shots, but still, very, very good.
Very well done. Meanwhile, Diaz is on final phase of Ganon.
MetroidMst making his way through the Torian escape.
Alright, Diaz done with Ganon, on his way to do the same thing here that Metroid is.
And MetroidMst is just about back into Criteria. Gonna most likely get a Shine Spark up the old Mother Brain shaft. Yep.
Now, one thing I do know, are we saving the animals?
Probably not. Not in a race like this.
Oh.
Nope. Alrighty, folks. MetroidMst has won this race with an official SRL time of 3 hours, 19 minutes, 23 seconds. Thanks to our tracker, Epi, for switching the audio over to NDIAZ as he finishes up the game.
GG to MetroidMst.
Alright, let's see if we can get MetroidMst on in here for an interview. Alright, looks like I think we've got Metroid in here. How you doing, bro?
I am feeling all right after that.
Yeah, that scene was pretty stingy. That scene was kind of stingy with the progression early on.
It was
the first really big break. The first really big break was the morph ball on the other tablet.
Yeah, that was. I was running out of places to check, but that was not where I was thinking I would get morph ball dropping out of the sky on me.
Yeah. On the whole, you looked very clean throughout. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. I felt really good about my execution in the games this time. I just not particularly happy with. I did basically the world tour in each game. I after morph ball, I kind of got a lot of progression right there, and then it just died. And at the end, I was looking for the fire rod and the ether medallion.
Ether was the good one at him for NDIAZ too. So
yeah, I kind of figured there'd be no reason to go.
Although he also orphaned gravity for quite a while.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why I went there. I actually was. I watched a race yesterday morning. I think it was yesterday morning. That Lino and I don't forget who he raced. It wasn't Janus. It was someone else. But they had raced, and Mirror was there, and Lino didn't get the mirror forever, and it was at that location. So that was. I think I might have did it just to make sure I knocked that off my list. And it really paid off.
Yeah, I got you, man. Oh, so we have to ask. Double dipping Ice Palace after finishing it and still not full clearing. What the heck happened?
The cosmic brain play, so that was not wanting to dip another pendant dungeon looking for the medallion. And then I knew there was one more chest, but because I used the key at that spike room to go right, I've never done that before. So I'm like, I don't know how to get this other chest. I'm leaving.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to go do my normal route now that I've cleared every other chest. So yeah, that was just me being a huge derp.
How happy were you that progression wasn't there?
Happy and not happy. Like the whole, I went into every single dungeon. I would have definitely preferred to have had the medallion. I got the ice I wanted. I could have just go mode and left, but I didn't really realize that. I was hoping I would have got the medallion on the way down, either that or the fire rod, because I was still looking for that at the time. If I could have got it in one of the chests on the way, and not had to do anything, that would have been my preferred alternative to what happened. But it didn't want to do that this time.
So here's a pair of questions for you. In terms of your routing decisions, what did you feel best about? And with the benefit of hindsight, what do you like the least?
I do like that, and I generally don't like this in the Randomizer, where you can basically get in one game and stay there. There was a little back and forth early on to get morph, but once I had that, basically it was just Metroid and then it was just Zelda. I kind of prefer to bounce back a little more. I am glad I went ahead and just did all of Super right then, but I full cleared the game. The only thing I didn't check was Chapter 1. So that took a lot of time, and it was not a whole lot. I obviously got some items, but there wasn't a whole lot gained by full clearing everything.
Right.
Yeah, so I am both happy that it's the same thing. I am both happiest with that decision to go ahead and clear that. I'm far more comfortable in Super Metroid than I am Zelda. And simultaneously, I'm very upset with that because I wasted so much time.
For quite a while there, we were thinking this was going to be an AGA 1 seed for Dark World access.
I was about to try that. I think yeah, actually, because Moon Pearl was one of the last things I got. Because Moon Pearl was at Wave Beam, so
right.
Yeah, and I was there when I got my.
You hadn't gotten the actual Wave Beam out of Brinstar Reserve.
Right. Yeah. So I was. I need to look at that. I could probably have glitched that gate on the way back. But I just grabbed the sword upgrade that was there and left because I didn't have Morph Ball out at that time, so I would have been stuck if I couldn't glitch the gate. So.
Meanwhile, NDIAZ is into the escape sequence. We'll see if he saves the animals.
Yeah, I doubt it.
Yeah, nobody likes to save the animals. It's what, 25 seconds worth of time?
It's a millisecond is too long spent saving those things.
Wow, so
all that.
I do not care for the animals. They were hiding the cane from you and the seed. I mean, they really didn't want you to succeed, so just let them burn.
I'm calling PETA on you guys, man. Like,
what do the animals need a cane for? The jumping off walls, they don't need a cane.
well, clearly they need to, I don't know, something. I mean, what does Link need a cane for? To defeat, Ganon? Anyway. No, GG. I hope you enjoy going through there. This was the first Combo Miser that I got to do commentary on, so thank you for breaking me in.
Thank you very much for commentating. It's a really fun thing to play.
Alrighty, in the meantime, NDIAZ has finished with an SRL time of 3 hours, 27 minutes, 21 seconds. See if we can get him in there too.
Yeah, all the GGs in chat. In the meanwhile, while we're waiting on NDIAZ to come in here, make sure to give both of these runners a follow here. Following them on Twitch is the easiest way to support them, and I believe we're now joined by NDIAZ.
Man, that's the 4th time this week that I've had to double clear both games.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I've played this game a lot in the last few days. I'm looking at my credit screen right now, and mine is 157, 116, 313.
313.
Oh,
out of
so yours is less.
I lost to all the stupid resets that I did looking for stuff.
Oh, that's painful, man.
That's pretty cool though that our race was that close.
Yeah, that was a pretty close race, especially across a 3.5 hour run.
Oh, 45-minute morph because I triple dipped Brinstar. Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't dip Brinstar. I was going to do that if my last few checks in Zelda didn't work out, but it fell out of the sky on me. So I was very thankful for that.
I probably would have saved like 5 minutes just going to Eastern before I dipped Metroid. Oh well.
So, same question I asked at Metroid earlier to you, NDIAZ. What did you
Gravity.
feel best about in terms of your routing decisions?
I isolated gravity. I was like, I don't want to go down there and then spark up that shaft to get a pack of missiles. So I'm going to go to some higher density areas. And then it was literally my last check.
Ouch.
I can't remember the good routing, but it felt good for a while. Like I was doing my dungeons. I think I had 4 crystals done at like an hour and a half, maybe? Something pretty good.
Yeah, you were going through Link to the Past, and MetroidMst was going through Super Metroid at the same time. He was done with all 4 Super Metroid bosses well before you finished them.
Was there any point where I was ahead, arguably?
It was close, I would say, throughout a lot of it. It really came down to a point where Metroid was kind of looking for the fire rod, which was in Gary's lunchbox, and then you were looking for the gravity suit. You were both looking for ether, but we kind of figured you would eventually get there. The fire rod was just kind of in a out of the way location in the lunchbox, so we didn't know when that would come into play. But as soon as Metroid ended up going through that, it's like, okay, well, we're in good shape now.
Yeah, that's the first time the lunchbox has ever actually had progression for me in one of these.
I did lunchbox because of Flute and because of Mir. I did lunchbox before finishing Thieves Town, so I had Fire Rod before I went to Skull Woods. And if I had just never gone back to Thieves Town, that would have been an extra like 5-6 minutes I saved. Like every little routing mistake, just like cost me the whole thing.
If it makes you feel any better, I mean, he did too. I mean, both you cleared Thieves Town. I think you cleared Landmo, which you didn't. I mean, there was still an item there, so it was a worthwhile check. There were just little things, but it was still very, very close there for most of it.
Mm-hmm. There's something I saw in chat while I was waiting for this restream to catch up. Maniacal and Elm commenting on the baby skip. I learned baby skip last night. That's all I could find on YouTube. If it looks weird, that's why.
You're fine. You got it. Baby skip's not an easy trick.
Yeah. MetroidMst and I, this is both of us got our first race baby skip today.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool.
Well, congratulations to both of you on that score then.
Yeah, that was exciting. I was like, when I got into that room, I told myself, this is where I'm either going to win or lose it if I get to skip. So I was a little focused on that, and it finally managed to pull one off in a race.
What was the worst item you guys found? Like the worst placement, the worst timing. What do you think?
Moon Pearl.
I think everything felt great except for gravity. If I had just gotten gravity, I'd have been done way sooner.
I gotcha.
It's a very dramatic miss, I think.
Yeah. You both orphaned that one item.
Yep. Yeah, I basically cleared 95% of Super before I got Moon Pearl. I had all 4 bosses done at that time. I was like, well.
Yeah, you were on your way out of Lower Norfair when you looped back around to check the wave beam room.
Yeah, I was like, this is looking like an Agaseed anyway, so I was preparing myself for that.
All right. Do either of you have any final comments on the seed, on the race?
Good luck in the rest of the bracket. You are still in the running for top 8 if you clutch out some tough wins.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Thanks for racing me. We still got 3 weeks left. I fully expect next week I'll be out of the running for the top 8. I'll be right now. I could still pretend I'm on my march toward the rematch in the brackets with Elm. So
Yeah, meet him in grand finals. That's the
that's the plan.
take that,
Well,
Andy.
Yeah, any given day, any given person can win any given seed. So there's always a chance.
You know, I believed that once, but the SRL rankings are really accurate. There's enough data now. But we can feel good about it. Yeah, that was a good race. Look at those times. Look at them.
Yeah, know.
I see.
But no, that was fun. I'm glad I was able to get a race in with you, and thanks to you too for commentating, and to Epi for tracking that mess.
Yeah.
Thanks
for stepping up.
you to the two of you as well for putting on the race for us. I had a great time watching you.
It was a blast. I will fully admit that. That being said, I think there's nothing else on speed gaming for the rest of the evening, so I think it's about time for us to get things wrapped up, maybe?
Alrighty. Natasha, do you have any final comments on your first combo rando seed?
I do not, other than I should have scheduled myself some more time to prepare for this. I kind of got pulled in at the last minute, but so glad I was able to finally get in to be a part of one of these. Thank you guys for putting up with me, and I hope I helped with some insight on the Link to the Past side at very least.
Yeah, I signed up at the last minute too, although I wouldn't have been doing anything anyway, so it wasn't a big deal. All right. Okay. I think we're about ready to sign off for the evening, folks.
Yep, just make sure to follow Speed Gaming 1 through 6 for all of your other speed gaming action. There's plenty of stuff going on tomorrow. Go ahead and check at speedgaming.org/schedule, and we'll see you all at the next race. Have a good rest of your night.
I've been Big Buck, he's been Vitasia, and we'll see you next mission.